All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Chapter 3, Session 2 of the Imris Saga Rising Shadows campaign. I am joined as always by my lovely cast. This time everyone's here. Everyone's here on time. And you're all about to get your shit kicked in.
Seems unlikely.
Ooh,
Also,
Papa.
the point of the countdown, you don't start 5 at no sound. You got to start with 5 and 4 vocally, and then go to no sound.
Yeah, I want to make you guys work for it.
We have to be watching diligently.
You have to be looking at my ugly face the whole time.
You're right. That is a punishment.
My spider-like face, according to Jack. Jack used to tell people that I look like a spider.
Andrew is a spider. I don't know why.
Because we didn't used to play with cameras nearly as often.
I've seen pictures of Andrew like 2 times ever. I'm like, that's a spindly man. That's it.
I used to be thinner, if you can believe it.
Andrew's like Spider-Man, but if like he's an actual spider, you know?
So like the Cure's version of Spider-Man. Like
Yeah.
Spider-Man comes.
Where
Okay.
I shit web.
Yeah, there's no cool powers to it because the web only ass, and that's
We do
not
not
Okay.
need anything about Andrew's web discharge. Please and or thank you.
We're gonna move on.
No.
You should see the specific doctor for that.
Everybody's very loopy today. It's gonna be interesting. All right. Last time, you guys had set off from Talmafagan to go and find Torlos the Sage, trying to locate Harkantor, the lost dwarven city now infested by demons. You teleported, and then you teleported again, finally arriving in Galmador, where Kala introduced you to a demon hunter by the name of Old Bart, who, after feeling slightly insulted by Medea, agreed to lead you down the Khor roads towards Harkantor, laying down some ground rules. There was some interesting conversations. Will learned a little bit about blood magic, which might come up in the future. We ended. You guys had passed through a cavern that had slivers of mithril ore here and there, and were walking a little bit farther than that. You entered into a new chamber and saw Maximus, Old Bart's scouting dog, loping back towards you, followed by the thunderous sounds of some large creature stomping their way in. 2 large creatures. Go ahead. Let's to a map. Some people may not be able to see nearly as well as other people, but you should all be able to see well once you load in.
I'm extremely upset with everyone.
Before we started.
I'm extremely upset with everyone with dark vision for not immediately screaming that they have dark vision as soon as a map was announced.
See, that's
Minus
what
points for all
Andrew
of you.
takes so much joy in, is the fact that we are a low dark vision party.
Yeah,
You're
I
not-
really mind.
It's really only 2 of you.
it's
And Cal.
I have
Yeah.
cat-based dark vision.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Yeah, cat hat. The truest dark vision.
Doesn't it take your action
Very
every
spooky.
round though, to be perceiving through it?
Maybe. I should check that.
Yeah,
I mean-
because you have your action to perceive through it every round.
I could have sworn you could like just start that action and you can't see, like the trade-off is that you just can't see out of your own eyes.
I think you have
I
to
thought
be.
it was a toggle.
No, I do think that remote.
But I'll check because it's not super important.
Yeah, it only lasts until the start of your next turn, so you do have to keep it going. Basically, I think it just means that it takes like enough of your focus that you have to, or you have to be doing something.
Sure. That's fine.
But for at least I thought for the opening round, you had it up. Okay, yep. Everybody can see. Again, some people more limitedly. Take your collective silence.
Mhm. Yes.
Is this the marching order we have set?
That's what I thought it had roughly been described to me before. If you guys want to Move yourselves. I have Uba and Alveron in the back. I put Uba and Alveron next to each other because I distinctly remember there was hand-holding going on. I know Old Bart is up in the front, and they had been talking to Will a lot, so I kind of just placed them near Will and Kala. If you guys want to adjust this slightly, I will allow it. But I think Old Bart is definitely up.
This is fine.
Yeah,
Like,
it
for
makes
me.
sense for Sulveran to be near Uba since he was
Yeah.
trying to point out plants and stuff to them.
Yeah, I did this kind of based off of how people were talking. Also,
Look at that new Kala art.
yeah, we got new art. I'm gonna once I don't think this is 100% finished. Once it's 100% finished, I will drop that in the Discords. Both the Kala and the Bart art.
So
All right.
cool.
Let's go ahead and roll some initiatives. Go ahead. I also, as we discussed, if Jack's going to be doing, long time ago, Jack's going to be doing Old Bart's stuff. Let me make sure you. I
Totally forgot that. I thought I was doing Kala stuff.
Oh, we can switch it then.
That's fine. I literally played a Blood Hunter like 2 days ago, so it might make more sense for me to do it.
Does anybody? If not, I'm fine with doing one. Does anybody want to take over for Cal?
Sure.
And I need to change Ramona's name.
Yeah, I think I can change it.
You might be able to.
Look at that.
Who has the Twilight advantage?
That's a good question. I know it's not Uba because they get it already.
Yeah. I think last it was Will.
And just set it and forget it.
I mean, for me, mentally, I set it and forget it.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm assuming Sulveran tries it every time. Well.
That is Old Bart's roll. This is my second roll, which it won't do because I'm already at it.
I will say. You already have it.
That makes sense. If I remember correctly, I always rolled low Old Bart for initiative.
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll the whole thing again. This initiative is weird like this.
Gesundheit. Jaku. Ooh, who's that last die roll was pretty.
That was Will's. I got 20 for both.
Nice.
God damn.
Uba's been doing so bad at an initiative like the last few times that we've fought. I used to be first all the time.
You did. I'll put it on you once, and then that'll restore your first.
No.
11.
Alveron, you do. I will remind you, Alveron. You don't have to use it, but you do have the potion of dark vision that Old Bart gave you. But you are reacting first, somewhat blindly. You can see, or you should be able to see, like bits and pieces of the creature as illuminated by some of the foliage here and there. But it is very dark near you. You really only see yourself and your immediate eye companion.
Can I ask a quick above the board question before
Yes.
Sean goes? Can characters that can see better in the dark, are we allowed to do like call outs? Would that help in this situation, or is that not mechanically?
You can direct them where to go. It will not remove disadvantages or anything like that. Unless you're taking a full help action to do that.
Okay, then never mind for now, but good to know.
But I mean, he kind of knows where they are already. But yeah, normally, like you can always say they're to your left, they're whatever, positional wise. It just won't take away that disadvantage that is innate, not being able to see very well.
Gotcha. And we are at, if we don't have dark vision, we are at disadvantage.
That's correct. Yes, this is definitely.
Okay. Am I remember? So for drinking a potion consumes a whole action, correct?
It's a bonus action.
Oh, it's a bonus action. Okay, so
It hasn't come up very often.
Gotcha.
Best campaign.
In
bonus action.
Got it. In that case, yes, I will down the potion and then ready my short bow. And I want to check and make sure that have I made it in the item description if it's. Let me check the better rolls to make sure. I don't think I have the bonus
For the short bow being +1.
It's a +1 short bow, but then I have the sorry, it's on the second page. But the quiver, which makes the arrows +2 of return.
Oh,
So I just don't think I have a mechanic for that in there. So this will just be D20 +2.
I'll just edit it. I'll just edit the short bow.
Okay.
Corey's going to.
Yes, and then damage needs to be up for add a D4 force. But that's
okay. You should be good.
Okay. So now I can make the attack without penalty, correct?
They are still a little bit far from you, from your current dark vision.
Okay.
So you would have to move up to have, like, actually for them to be in yours. Fully.
Oh, gotcha.
Bits and pieces, but yeah.
All right. Well, that's fine because I can still move.
Yeah, the pushing gives you 60 feet of dark vision.
Gotcha. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. I think we're there.
Yeah, at that point you can start to come into full view of the creature, which even those not they have the same dark vision, but even those of you with dark vision can only kind of start to see the edges of. They are these kind of massive hulking, almost like rhinoceros-like in some ways, like that kind of thick leathery hide. They have really long arms, like almost the length of their whole body that kind of stretch out and reach around the rock as they kind of maneuver forward. Large horns jut out off the side of their heads. Gaping maws filled with sharp teeth.
Gotcha. Well, screw all that. And let me see here. Nothing for reactions, so I'm not going to worry about that. In that case, then I'm going to make the attack now. I already used my bonus action on the potion, so I'm not going to be able to use it to take the hide action, but I will attack with a short bow now, and then I'll start to move again once I've done that.
Okay. You only get one attack since you used your bonus action on.
Yeah.
That is still a hit.
Nice, even with all that. Jesus. All right. Yep. So 9 points of damage, and then I will move this direction for my last 2 bits of movement. Try to get a little bit of cover.
It's only melee attacks you get swashbuckler or whatever it is.
The what?
Fancy footwork. The sneak attack.
Yeah, so I don't get sneak attack for this. Unless I would have it normally from like attacking in the dark, but
no, not this. If they couldn't see you.
Yeah. I mean, I will be taking the hide action next, and then everything with that. But
okay. Will, it is then your turn. You also, even with the cat vision that you currently have up, you're a little bit beyond your.
Well, it ends at the start of my turn anyway. I will.
You get to see long enough to see the horrible things, and then it blinks out.
Yeah, I mean, it flicked on. Like, I saw it before my thing flicked out, right?
Yeah.
So if I attack it, it's a disadvantage.
Correct.
I think Will just like flicks out her hand, and in a much quicker form than during the training, a storm cloud appears and then shatters into 5 distinct little crystals. And I'm going to cast Willow's Hailstone Barrage at level 5.
All right.
So it's actually 6. And these have disadvantage, but that's fine because I have a good bonus. My thing is being slightly slow.
Your internet's in Ohio.
It was fine at the start of this. Hang on.
There it goes.
That was the wrong.
You
thing.
rolled with
It was-
advantage. Those both still hit though.
Is it control for disadvantage? Or...
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, control.
Okay. I'm just gonna roll all of these and then describe what it looks like because
Very
With your-
nice dice choices.
With your
though.
bonus, it is even with disadvantage. It's still pretty likely to.
yeah, well, it's pretty good. I've clicked this 6 times.
The last 2 miss.
The best damage ones miss. Yeah, so we'll just lift her hand, and the storm cloud appears and shatters into 6 hailstones, and they just fling out. She like moves her hand with each one, trying to direct it to different points, and the first 4 just clatter into this demon or this creature. But the last 2, which were a bit heavier, like had extra weight, and she's still not used to the spell, and they just like one slashes up into the space above it, and the other one into the floor. And I will then smile at Kala and say, "Oh, it's been a long time since I've had to see you fight." To give bardic inspiration. Yes, I liked the dice being blue for the d6s because I'm never going to roll it for anything else.
Oh, that poor dog.
The dog's probably hidden enough.
The demon casts power word kill on the dog.
This is a demon. It has some sense of honor.
Sorry, I'm just
Andormedia smashing a bandit's dog.
Yeah,
Andrew knows that we would
wouldn't
drive
kill
to
a dog.
Arizona and beat his ass if he immediately nerfed the dog.
I think that
the dog that's based off of my own recently deceased dog.
Yes.
What a weird way to deal with that, Andrew.
Yeah. I would be concerned if I did that. I would tell you guys to maybe call somebody.
I would be in charge of the campaign from then on.
Look, and it would still not be the most dramatic exit from a campaign that I've experienced.
Surely that anyone's experienced.
Okay, sorry about that. I was fixing the people at home. The Hajeku, though, is just forward.
And cast the best fireball that GM has ever cast, hitting literally everything.
It is going to move into kind of engagement range. Next.
It could actually hit every single one of us with a single fireball.
Oops.
The most insane cone of cold ever passed.
We need to come up with varied formations for walking so that when Andrew asks our marching order, we're like, variant starburst 3.
I'm 96 feet away from everybody else in the sky.
I'm exactly
not study.
37.84 feet away.
I did not study tactics with the army for me to fucking do this.
I'm gonna make a quick roll to determine. I can't think of a good reason why I would hit.
No, you studied with the army so that you could shave your character's head completely bald last.
Okay, Sulveran.
That was him cutting his top knot, not him
Oh.
going to basic training.
It in its kind of large maw begins to chant a spell out at you. Words fill your ears of dissonance, discord, and madness.
Can I counterspell?
You can if you have counterspell. Since you can.
Yeah. I will counterspell it.
What
Goes.
level?
As Medea will just raise up the spear and rear it back, and almost like a spectral spear flies out back at this thing's mouth to break through the barrier of magic forming. Do I need to roll for it, or is it?
You only have 3rd level. That's right. I was waiting for you to say what level. I do need you to roll.
Okay.
Thanks, Ramona, because Andrew went straight for me there because he's trying to interrupt that spirit guardian's nightmare.
I think Andrew rolled. If it was gonna aim for anybody, it would be Will for like actually hitting it properly.
Smashing.
So for you,
ice.
it would be
Plus
3.
10.
Ooh,
So
unfortunately, that is not quite enough. I need Sulveran to make me a Wisdom saving throw as it casts Round of
I feel like that
Madness.
will be fine. Given the standing next to Medea.
Oh yeah, you crush it.
Boom.
Sulveran, when this happens, Sulveran is just staring
Absolutely
back
destroyed.
at it, and he says, "Stop speaking nonsense."
All right. The mad chanting slams into you, but you just like washes off your body.
They speak
Clever
German?
giant demon shows up, makes a wisdom save, picks a random person, and it's the cleric standing next to the paladin. Okay.
yeah, you got a 32 on that save.
I rolled a D6. Sorry, maybe I did that wrong. Oh, I did do that wrong. Well, I rolled a D6 and I got 6. I guess I
think
couldn't
Uba
see
makes that on a
Uba.
nat 20.
Accidentally attacks Kojin.
Well, yeah, any of you say that on that.
Out of madness is cogent.
Yeah, I was going to do it to one of the animals. So it walks up, it does that, and then is waiting for you guys to approach. It is then Uba's turn.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely do Hunter's Mark first. And then, God, it's been so long since we've done combat. I'll just do, yeah. Can you explain really quickly with the short sword that you gave Uba? Do I have to take like an action to put the poison on, or
You
how
could
does
have
that work?
pre-applied it or have put it in already. Once you use it, though, it won't. Like, if you want to apply a new thing, that will be a full action to do so.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can have it like preloaded going into a fight, but once you do it, you've done it until you spend an action. Up it again.
Okay. I think it makes sense that Uba would have prepared it, but I think for now, because you said it has tough hide and long arms, so I'm just gonna do the longbow. And I think I can do that twice.
You guys are gonna all do range attacks and leave this poor dog defenseless. The
Let me.
first one hits, the second one misses.
Okay, and then let me roll Hunter's Mark.
And you get Colossus Slayer because it's taking damage, right?
Yes. Your longbow and arrows aren't magical, are they?
No. Uh-oh. So that's Hunter's Mark, and then Colossus Slayer is a
Fiddly old Bard's character sheet, I suppose.
Yeah, D8.
My favorite is most of the important.
I think
Which one
that
is bad?
should be it. I don't think that fiends are like my favorite. Oh yeah, +3 damage against fiends, and I think this is a fiend, or is it? Okay,
for
then
sure.
yeah.
Okay. Did you want to use Kojin's thing?
I don't think that Uba's gonna use Kojin's things now, but Uba will turn to Kojin and say in Draconic, I think he needs more help than I do, and points at Alveron. So I'm gonna have Kojin be ready to use that bonus attack with Alveron if you'd like.
Okay.
Sure.
Your first arrow does land in the creature's chest, but it doesn't seem to drive as deeply, the steel not cutting into the flesh as well as your good shot would another creature. Your second shot, however, kind of glances off one of its horns, missing entirely. Did you want to move?
Let me. I actually think I'll stay there for now because I don't want to get like thrown into next week.
All right. And you already kind of did Kojin stuff. You want them to run up and bite.
No, I think Kojin would lose that fight, so I'm going to pass on that one.
Have the pets tank the damage. Medea, it is then your turn.
Medea's first just going to 15 feet to here, then 15 feet to here. However, instead of just starting with an attack, they're going to raise up a finger and point to the roof, and then as if they're bringing down a small moon appears at the very top of this cavern, and then a ray of light drops down onto it. And I will cast Moonbeam, which does create 5 feet of dim light on this thing.
It does succeed. We'll take half damage.
Really good 2d10 though, good god. 8 damage. And that is my... It'll be my turn.
I should have rolled it on its turn, but that's fine. We'll remember that it already did it for its turn. Medea walks up, casts the spell. Now some light is being shown upon this creature, so it is easier to see. Even will without dark vision, the creature is illuminated for at least that particular one. The other one is then going to charge out.
I remembered there were two.
When this combat first started, I was only seeing max in the tokens, and I was like, oh, this isn't such a big deal. We've only got one small enemy.
Yeah, because you guys
You
couldn't
had the
see them very
experience
well.
that Sulveran had of the dog, like, run forward
fine.
and then be followed by two giant things that we now know can cast spells.
Well, Sulveran's been able to see all of this stuff, but yes, for a moment.
Sulveran chose not to. Sulveran was like, I'm going to have a normal person's experience of this moment for no reason.
Yes. I'm feeling.
Yes, so this other one is also going to be chant a spell as it points at the group of you in the back, kind of building up into a frenzy.
It's not visible to Will, right? I can't see it on the map, so
No, it did move to a spot where you not see.
Is it worth trying another counterspell here or not, I wonder?
It's up to you.
We'll leave it be.
Okay.
I would counterspell if I could see it, but I cannot.
I would counterspell if I had that kind of player, but I don't.
It's fine.
Okay.
So, like, the worst it's going to do to us is just Meteor Storm or Firestorm. Some kind of storm.
I'm going to need everyone in the back
That's what I was
to
cast.
make me a wisdom saving throw as the bad
everybody?
from the spell
Everyone.
in the back. So the old Barkella.
As it
Thank God.
As it casts the spell and I feel it start to take control of me, I'm going to use the Braces of the Ancient Kingdom. I have to make an Arcana check against DC 10 plus the spell's level, which
4th.
I think I just succeed almost always. Just. And then I get advantage.
Yeah. And then I need one from
Oh, that really made the difference
one
there.
from Kala.
Yeah.
I've never used that item before. I was just reading it and I was like, oh, this is actually very useful.
Fail.
Ella has Bardic Inspiration.
Kala does have Bardic
Okay.
Inspiration.
Is that a D10 yet or still a D8?
Still a D8, sadly.
So 4 up is what she
So she makes it.
Okay. Thanks to Will's bardic inspiration, I counted a save. I just need old. Uba, however, does fail.
Oh, I'm old buck.
Rip.
That's
I remember.
So-
That's me.
Hang on, I'm just. Is this a charm effect, and is that a thing that old buck has at this level? I think
it is a charm effect.
No, it's a level 14 feature.
Just Uba is affected by the confusion spell. So Uba, you are confused at the start. So you can't take reactions at the start of each of your turn. We're going to roll a d10 to see what you do. So we'll have to remind me of that when we come around.
Actually, I just realized, I'm sorry, I think that my cloak gives me advantage on rolls.
No, your cloak
Oh no, it's only
gives
wisdom.
it gives you a +1. But it doesn't
I got you. Damn. Well,
Which
I'm sure this will be fine.
Oh, that's actually. Maybe I set the cloak up wrong. It is actually not adding that. However, you do still fail, just not by quite as much.
Okay,
You should have +1 on all your saves.
gotcha.
I think before you had the ring, and that's why I didn't bother to set it up right. I'll fix that. Your AC should also be 18.
Oh, okay.
So that's their go.
How's going to try and get out of dodge a little bit? Can you add the light source, by the way?
Sorry?
Can you add the light source from Moonbeam?
Oh, yeah. Not that big, I don't think.
Sheet up. And I think she will just cast Shadow Blade at 2nd level. As a bonus action, and then just take an action to swing at this thing. If she would have a plus. I'll just use a dagger to represent this.
Yeah, that's fine.
That does a 16 hit.
Actually,
Oh, would she need to move closer? She
yes,
would need to move a little
need
bit
to move
closer.
a
Yeah.
little bit closer. I'm just double checking and make sure. Yeah, unfortunately, the dagger does fly and it hits the creature, but is not able to pierce through the thick hide. It bounces off.
Doesn't it have advantage because it's in dim light?
Oh, true. Yeah.
So the whole point of Shadow Blade is like it's good in the dark, right?
Yeah, I thought there was something.
So it should be 27 instead. I'm assuming that hits.
That definitely.
Okay. And then let me roll the damage. 2d8. And then sneak attack because someone's next to it,
Well,
and her sneak.
It rolled the 9 already, so
Okay. And then her sneak attack is 2d6, right?
correct.
Sweet.
So 14 damage.
So that I'm getting that
Yeah.
right.
To take
The
it
first
wrong.
one it just
Next
missed.
level, it
The
will
second
be.
one is-
No. It was that they were
It had
supposed to have
advantage.
advantage.
Okay. Got it.
Because
So instead of-
Moonbeam is not a great light source.
Yeah, because it's all dim light. Instead of missing, thanks to the blade's shadowy properties, it is propelled deep into the flesh of the creature, striking down. As it kind of looks down and grunts. Is it going to be Sulveran's
She'll
turn?
move back slightly.
Hey Jack, is Will's spell book still covering her eyes? Or did she remove that when she cast?
It's still covering her eyes
Alright.
because I don't think she would have removed it.
I mean,
Alright.
it's not like you can pull it down.
Yeah. So
It's also sentient.
so in that case, Sulveran just he doesn't like pull at it so much as the fabric as he just kind of brushes his hand against Will's temple. And the like sudden impression of the land around will kind of appear through the folds of the spellbook, the sentient spellbook. And he says mildly to Will, blessing of Syl, and then kind of stalks forward. And then he is going to come over here. I'm going to try to move it. We're going to hope, because earlier I couldn't. Oh, yeah.
That gives them your dark vision.
Like it's shared. So, yes, same shared level of dark vision.
Good. I didn't have to
And it
worry
lasts
about
for an
the fact I
hour.
couldn't see old Bart's thing.
Did you want to do
Yeah.
that? Because you could also do that to Kala.
Yes. Yeah, I misread it.
Everybody
I
else
thought
has
it said
dark
a
vision.
creature, but it's up to my wisdom modifier.
your
So
wisdom.
anyone who can't see can now see.
Not Alveron, because when you did it, they weren't within 10.
Can I?
But it's okay because I took the potion, so
Yeah,
it's all
he is
good.
Yeah,
dark
there's no
vision.
way you can fit all of them within 10 feet.
Okay.
And
You have
only
blind
Will and
sight.
Kala left, I think.
You have blind sight, but not dark vision, right?
No, I have both.
Okay. So then Sulveran comes to a stop over here. He reaches down to cast spiritual weapon, but the weapon that appears from the alpenstock that he is now carrying is still like the old weapon that he used to carry. The magical alpenstock is the familiar, much shorter one, and it's going to appear right on this fella that I'm pinging. A little bit like almost above and juxtaposed against like a near Max to like distract it from Max. And that's at 3rd level. Maybe. We'll see about it. Hell, let's go balls out. 4th level. 4th level.
That's it.
Alright. So 17 force damage.
We love conserving our spell slots.
Pardon me?
We love conserving our spell slots.
Go big or go home.
You want
That's
it to be where again? Here?
Yeah, that's where it's gonna be.
Let's run old Bart. Flashback.
Can you remind me of like old Bart's attack aesthetic? Because I have just been playing a Werelion. And I think it's not the same.
Yeah, he's got the shield in one hand. It's very like methodical, kind of just not a lot of flourishes. Get in there, try to stab it till it's dead.
Okay. He just very matter of factly as he's moving. Can I inhabit the same space as that?
Yeah, it's not
spiritual weapon.
technically there.
Very matter of factly, I think he draws the sword out of the sheath and like passes it along his palm at the same time to give it the right of. I don't know which rights he has.
Sorry, I didn't.
That way, that's a level. It's just a D4 anymore, right?
So he has fire and lightning. He
So I
doesn't
guess
have
lightning.
the esoteric ones.
I'm trying to find to make sure what it's a D6 at this level, right? Or does it become a D8? Yeah, D6. All right. So he takes 6 at some point. He takes 5 points of damage. But he steps forward and he will take his 2. You have extra attack as this one? Yeah. He'll make his 2 attacks against this one, just cutting downwards with the longsword shield in one hand.
Leave
And
my
makes
dog
the
alone.
second one also hit, and 2d6. And with the first one, as he hits it, the crimson right flares up, and all across like the torso of this creature in the moonbeam, these tiny little blood red arcane sigils appear, and he brand of castigations it, and they appear. One of them in the middle of his torso, one of them in the middle of Medea's torso, and one of them in the middle of Max's forehead.
Olbart steps up, kind of flashes, almost guts this creature as the lightning radiates out from the body. It is bloodied from this attack, as it now has several of these ice bolts stuck in different parts of its body, a gaping wound from Kala, and now a large slash from Olbart, as well as an arrow from it. Max is going to move around this creature and do the help action for next time Olbart will have. Alveron.
Perfect. All right, so I wasn't able to hide last turn, so I'm not hidden now. And my understanding is that if I can't take the hide action now and then, well, I mean, I guess I could, but then I'm not hidden for the next time. So
And for sneak attack, if you're attacking this one, you already get it.
Oh, I already get sneak attack?
Yeah, because there's allies near it.
Oh, that is true, actually. Okay, perfect.
I know
In that case,
it doesn't come up for Alveron very often because normally he gets it from himself.
Because usually it's just from the fancy footwork. But perfect, actually. Thank you, kind and benevolent GM, for reminding me of that.
You're welcome.
All right. So that's with advantage then. And I will not use my bonus action to.
You don't get
attack.
advantage. You do get sneak attack.
Oh, okay. All
Yes.
right. Well, I'll still take it.
Hiding would give you advantage. That's the main.
Gotcha. Well, that'll be for next turn then. All right. I will make my attack.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then let's apply that. Where you at? Oh, there you are. Duh. Yeah, we do.
You were attacking with a physical weapon, you said?
It is my bow.
Okay, then yeah, Kojin will give you some bonus thunder damage as well.
Sweet.
Oh, it didn't actually roll the d6. There you go.
Sweet.
So you can use your bonus action to fire again. Thanks to the quiver.
Oh, is it better to get 2 attacks or to get 1 attack with advantage?
You won't get
think
sneak
I'm gonna-
attack on that. You can only do that once a round.
True, because you only get it once per turn.
Once per turn, yes.
Jack, what do you think? Is it better to take advantage next turn with hide or go for the extra damage from the extra attack?
I think the top end of your extra damage is not great, but getting a critical is very good. And hide works better because you can attack either of them.
Yeah,
that's fair.
As opposed to this is you're doing less damage to one, which might not be as relevant.
That's fair.
Hide
All right, yeah. Perfect. I will take the hide action then and save my reaction. Yeah.
All right, go ahead and make that. Blink into the shadow.
Perfect.
All right, Alveron dips down amongst the rocks after firing the arrow. The arrow, which kind of lands in the neck of the creature, driving deep into the jugular and blasting out with force and thunder damage. So many different damage types here. As the creature howls in pain. It is then going to be Will's turn. Will, who can now see
the spellcloth like unwraps from her head really quickly and like picks up the cat like in a football carry, and is like floating around her head while she thinks about what to do next. And seeing that one of them is bloodied and seemingly dealt with to an extent. She will grab the corners of her cloak. And how tall is the ceiling in here now that I can see?
It's not terribly tall. It's probably 45 feet up or so. So certainly you can get above them if you want.
Yeah, I think she starts to fly up, and as she flies up, it's a really like quiet sound to everyone except for maybe Alveron, who's familiar with the sound. But it sounds like the rolling of the ocean, and the one that is not engaged, underneath it, this apparition of like a rolling, rocking sea starts, and Will just yanks her hand up, and out of that comes an anchor, which latches around the top of its head and like tries to pull it down into the ground. And we'll cast Willow's Psychic Anchor. I'm only using my spells this fight. Only Will specific spells.
Gotta do the branding.
Oh my god, I roll so good on dice. This is all for Alveron, just to give it incapacitation.
Yeah, no, it fails.
Dang.
Yeah, so the anchor like wraps around the top of its head, the chain of it, and then just yanks it straight down and like bows its back backwards into this like stuck position. And it takes 18 points of psychic damage.
Yeah, so it can't take actions or reaction.
And then I will, I think, look at.
Isn't it
Medea.
concentrating on confusion as well right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make that roll.
Yeah.
I think Will looks at Medea and says, Medea, that one's incapacitated. Points at the one that just like cracked in half.
It maintains concentration.
Medea will nod and seemingly change
for
their.
Bardic Inspiration.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Right. The other creature is going to. Well, first I already did the damage, but it takes the damage from Moonbeam as the beam kind of lands up onto its back, burning it from the top down. It is going to make a bite attack against Medea to start things off with. Large, massive jaws, but we're not able to get through as bounce them field. Then do a claw attack. Hobart. That is going to hit. Oldbart's going to take 24 points of damage.
And it takes 3 from Brain Investigation.
It should take 3 more because okay, it deals damage, not just
it
attack.
has to hit.
Yeah.
This one is
Also,
looking very
it's using his
wounded.
wisdom, not
Oh.
intelligence.
The Brand of Castigation causes. Okay, no, this isn't the one that needs to make the con save.
Yeah, it can. It's just the writing. It can do either or.
Okay.
I looked it up to make sure.
That's the way blood horses work. I think it used to be that it had to be intelligence, but Uba, I need you to roll a d10.
Oh boy.
It's terrible, but exciting.
Just roll a 9.
What's a 7 do?
It uses its action to make a melee attack against a randomly determined creature within its reach.
Oh no! I think that would only be
if
Will,
there's-
actually.
I'm 30 feet above you in the air.
Never mind.
Like, you just don't. Your turn is over. I'm pretty
No,
sure. If you
Within my
roll a
reach,
10.
is that 25 feet or is it
Um,
just the 5 feet? Because if it's 25, then it's Kala.
Let me double check.
No,
that.
it's a melee attack against a randomly determined creature within its reach, and if you can't, you do nothing. Like your
What
turn
about
ends
range?
immediately.
Does reach count for ranged weapons?
Well, it's a melee attack.
The melee attack. No, you just do nothing. Yeah, I'm just double checking to see. It doesn't force movement.
Okay, if it doesn't force movement, then
Whew.
I'll just
You
say
go to
Uba.
stab at the darkness around you.
Yeah, Uba.
You
You
just-
just hear like swearing in Draconic, and Uba's like flailing their dagger at the air in front of them.
Uba behind you all is fighting their confusion.
How can I get rid of the confusion?
You're about to do a
You get to
saving
make
throw.
saving
You're
throw
gonna
at the
make
end of
a
each.
wisdom saving throw.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. Uba's not the most wise of creatures, so.
DC 8.
I think you're the fourth best at this. Oh, maybe not.
As Uba continues to slash wildly into the air. What is Kojin doing?
Kojin's just going to, I would say, stick by Alveron for now. I'm gonna say for flavor, they're just looking at Uba and are like, I don't know what Uba's doing and it's weird, so I'm gonna stick over here with Alveron.
Medea.
Can I move through someone's space? It's that's difficult terrain, right? Moving through an ally space.
Correct, I believe so.
So I'm gonna move through Old Bart's space and get up to here. And I'm just gonna make 3 attacks at advantage on this demon that's incapacitated.
All right.
Does incapacitation give
I don't
advantage?
think it does. I'm pretty sure the only thing it does is it can't do action or
Okay, so
of any kind. But let me double check that. Yeah, all it says is can't take actions or reactions. It doesn't say anything about advantage or anything like that.
okay. So 3 attacks normally.
I definitely thought that it did more than that.
No, it's because a lot of times it'll say restrained and incapacitated. Restrained is the thing.
Yeah.
It can actually
paralyze is the other one.
it can still move technically, although it probably won't.
So I'm assuming the first and third one hit.
Correct, yes.
And I will smite this thing once with a first level spell. Oh wait, are these things they're demons, right?
They are. Yes, you should.
Okay, so it'll take an extra 4 damage total. Would a 15 hit this thing?
You don't know. You haven't been buying them.
I was gonna say because
You
I didn't have the.
not because you saw 15 miss.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say because I have a +2. I just didn't have it in there at the time. And these things are fiends, so this will be 3d8.
Yeah,
and I'm
inspiration for that one as well if you like.
Yes.
Oh, true. Yeah, I'll add the d8 to the second one then, and as
Okay.
well.
So it's 15 plus whatever you roll.
So it's 18 now.
That hits.
Okay. So instead I will spend 2 first level smites.
48?
These are fiends, right?
Yes. Oh, that's right. It's 68.
Okay. So it's going to need to make a. So the first bit is it's going to need to make a 5 plus 3. It's going to need to make a DC. 3 DC 10s. Oh, sorry. The second one is a DC 12.
11.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it will make 3 saves. The second one is an 11. Okay. 1. Yes. 2. Just barely a success. They have good con.
Yeah.
But you very nearly broke it up. Medea walks up and just like repeatedly stabs this creature in. Flashes of light from the radiant damage going into their spear ring out in the darkness. Hit the creature devastatingly with these blows. Right on the edge. I think it is bloodied. I'd have to do the math, but it's close enough that I'm going to say it's bloodied.
Mhm.
On its turn, it does nothing. You say we'll kind of crawl forward slightly, I will say. But it kind of has to shake itself out of the incapacitation. That only lasts 1 round, right, Jack? Or is
Till the
that
start of my next turn.
start of your next turn? Okay. Got it. So it is there, like just shaking. One arm goes
It's
up to
pulling
its
this ridiculous anchor
yeah, as it's like
behind it.
It is then Callow's turn.
Ramona, right?
Ramona, what does Callow do?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the initiative tracker. Callow's just going to very likely throw another knife at it and bonus action try to move back and hide after. So first I'll make the attack. Advantage because it's in dim light.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dang.
They get it on their sneak attack as well. They're doing it against the most injured one.
So that's going to be 4d8 plus 4d6, right? Because it's 2d6 sneak attack die. Okay. So an extra 30.
Not extra because it's the shadow daggers instead of.
Oh yeah. So that's just 34 damage total.
That's still enough though. Cal throws the shadow dagger as it kind of flipping around, lands straight in the middle of the creature's skull. It kind of thrashes before falling down kind of onto its side, one arm like grasping out as it dies.
And then she'll move back next to Will.
So Sulveran just kind of like tilting his head. That was easier than he was anticipating. And the halberd, without really seeming to move at all, just swings right at the other one. And so should have had that up. Didn't. So 1 moment. Where did it go? Where did it go? I've lost the spell. There it is. It sometimes when you you
More day
accidentally
has
drag
taken
it
from you.
and it falls. Yeah, when you drag something and it accidentally falls to the bottom of the character sheet.
No,
Yeah.
I've never done that.
Well,
That does
I
hit.
don't think it rolled with all the damage. Let me see. Oh, that's its
But
second
you
level.
should have an extra
So
3d8
it's
or 2.
plus
You cast it
2d8.
at 4th level?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
one
let me-
more.
Isn't it 2 more d8s?
Yeah.
No, it's one for every 2 levels. Spiritual weapon.
Oh.
Otherwise,
Because
it
otherwise
would
it would be
the best spell.
a
by far.
nonsense broken spell.
And it's
Okay.
already quite strong.
Yeah, it is crazy.
You cast it at 9th level and you just have a non-concentration, 8d8 weapon.
Yeah.
Right?
Swinging
That'd be
around.
insane.
So 14 points
Oh.
of damage.
But that is beautiful damage from that anyway. And then he's going to reach down to the long alpenstock and just barely lift it up a little bit, and with the back end of it he just kind of taps at his ocarina, which peels out Toll the Dead. And it's already injured, right?
Correct.
So DC 17 save.
It fails.
All right, so that's gonna not roll it automatically because I need the D12. So 2D12. Oh
Decent.
yeah.
Nice.
Right. If it was a
And then-
blade before, it definitely is.
And then another con save, right? Oh yeah.
Both of them are. It has to roll a 2 below. Maintains concentration.
We're getting its good rolls out of the way at least.
Bart. To go.
Old Bart feels the brand of castigation begin to fade, but just in a very matter-of-fact way steps to this one and will make his 2 attacks unless I find a fun blood curse.
First one's with advantage.
Against this one? Is that how that works? With the help action? But yes.
I don't think you have to specify a target. You just specify who you're helping.
So I was reading Blood Curse of the Binding. All right. Yeah, he'll swing twice.
Technically, the way I set it up, Max can go before or after him. They share initiative. Max will just.
That should have had advantage. This is the advantage for the first one that I failed to click.
The hit.
And then this is the second actual attack. My dice are so slow from old Bard's sheet.
That's weird. The second one, unfortunately,
The
missed.
second one misses. Sad. So it gets 1 extra d6 on the 11 damage.
I really like this D6.
13. Not quite as
I
much
need to
as
spend more
last
time outside
though.
of game figuring out what my dice should look like.
Another concentration, right?
Those new ones
Um,
Andrew added are super cool.
And with the as the two slashes come down, a sigil in the same spot but slightly different looking like flares up, and he amplifies Blood Curse of the Anxious. So the next Wisdom saving throw the target has to make has disadvantage.
I think you just straight up skipped the demon's turn, right?
It was incapacitated.
It was incapacitated.
So I did, but I did it on purpose.
Okay.
And then
He will
takes.
lose more five more damage. I only roll good on Hemocraft dice against myself.
Already moved him and stuff. He's just going to continue to help. Alveron, though, you are hidden coming out of hiding.
Yep.
Shot.
So I will sneak attack the son of a gun, and with advantage this time. So yay us. Well, thank God for that.
Still a hit.
But still a hit. Jumping Jesus on a pogo stick. Okay.
Never heard that
Also-
one before.
Kojin is gonna give you another little boost.
Nice. I will take that. And
Kojin doing work. Kojin doing more work than Uba is.
Kojin, yeah.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say it, but
So
It's
Um,
flailing in the background.
the DC 15 check-ins.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no.
And I will-
because the 5 is included. That's actually 17. I
nice,
actually
let's break
failed
this
this one.
concentration.
Fortunately not.
Son of a bitch.
These-
All right, and then I
these
will
things are
bonus
built
action
to
to hide.
maintain their concentration on their madness. Yeah, you slink back into the shadows. Will, you can sense that this creature is on its last legs.
Will doesn't know how blood hunter magic works well enough to know that it has disadvantage on wisdom saves.
No, I feel like old Bart would have called that out when he did it, though.
Yeah.
I gave it to him specifically to combo with your guys' spells, so
Mm.
he would
I'm just
say
thinking if I'm
something
willing to
like,
take the
"I've weakened it to magic. Use your spell."
all right, because he so kindly called that out. I'll just magic missile. No, I'll use a dice. Yeah, so it's a DC 17 wisdom. It's gonna be 2d12 damage.
Advantage with which it fails.
I'm gonna roll less than 8 on 2d12. That's my plan. Where all these 4s come from?
I'm not sure. You it says you're clicking other stuff.
I'm absolutely not. It's in a different window. 2d12. It casts the spell that was in my second cantrip slot when I pressed 2, which feels
Oh.
crazy to me.
Wait a second.
I did a good roll.
That's just enough. Let's told the dead kill this creature.
The anchor that is unfurling at the start of Will's turn just shoots directly from the ground towards Will, and it doesn't make contact, but it like makes this ringing sound like a tuning fork that like echoes a little bit in the chamber, and that reverberates into the skull and psyche of this thing, and it just like pops something in its head, and it falls to the ground.
Falls down. And combat ends as both of these creatures lie before you've fallen.
Nice.
Float back down to check on Uber.
Uba, as it falls, you stop slashing at the air and look around, blinking, realizing the fight has ended.
I think that Uba was so confused they didn't even realize that they weren't fighting the demons, so they just kind of put their sword away and say, their dagger, and say, we did it. They were tough, but we did good, and just has no clue that they weren't hitting the demon.
Will smiles and says, "Yes, it was a real team effort."
You all fight well. Good that we had spellcasters with nasty for a bunch of swordsmen. Kicks it.
Is Bart the only one injured significantly?
I think so.
I don't think this is a significant injury for Bart. He's only lost like 35 health or something.
He's not bloody, and a significant portion of that damage he did to himself. He does not ask for healing unprompted. But he will begin to... he'll sheath his sword, but he will pull out a long hunting dagger and start to stab right above the eye socket, probably weak part of the bone, and stab into that. And he seems to be harvesting something out of at least one of these.
Sulveran just looms in the way that he has done the entire time Bart harvests things. May I help?
He kind of gestures towards the other eyeball, if you can.
Can I make a religion check on these creatures to figure out what they are?
You may. Anybody can do that.
And I'll pull up my big book of demonology. Does that give advantage? Like if I have time to sit down and specifically study?
If you guys are taking a short rest, I'd say it will get.
Would helping Sulveran butcher the demon, could Uba give advantage if it was nature? Or is this not natural?
This is actually going to be a religion check to harvest.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
Regardless, Sulveran will call Uba over. And his tones take the usual tones back from when they were, going in the evenings, and he would basically drag Uba to the temple and the altar. And so he is explaining, and this time I think since he's a little bit more learned, he has the insight to share it in both Gathite and Common. As he says a prayer, thus conducting guidance on himself, and then does his best to butcher this thing.
And you kind of mirror or watching Old Bart. Old Bart is not just carving it out. He's actually saying prayers and chants, giving up praise to Alveron, the god of knowledge. It goes something like, I praise the one who brings the light of knowledge into our brains. I praise him. It's kind of cutting it out as he's doing this. He who protects us from demons by giving us the light of knowledge. You don't have to pray to Alveron, but that seem to be praying to.
While all these religious things are happening, I think Will is sitting with Keller explaining why people did certain things during the fight, and the reason that she cast the spell against the one that wasn't being fought, why Medea switched targets, that kind of thing. And upon hearing at the back of her consciousness the prayer to Alamein, she just looks at Kala and says, "Those are nerdy priests."
That is 30 on the religion check for knowledge.
Yeah, 30 definitely succeeds. These creatures are known as Hajeku. They are sometimes called the Bringers of Insanity. They are huge fiends, very strong, kind of built to take damage, but they also are capable of casting spells. Not a wide selection, but all kinds of different spells that influence the mind, some of which you saw, and for the most part successfully fended off with your own willpower. They kind of have this they cast the spells innately. It's not like they learn the spells or anything like that. They just are able to kind of project out, and what it is they're kind of projecting out their own madness onto others through their spell casting. What happens? You also know that their saliva it kind of causes an effect that weakens the mind, pierces into the psyche, and does damage that way. And you will, some of you might remember, Old Bart did take some of psychic damage from the claw as well.
Can I advise Bart to say something like, "You may want to harvest the saliva"? Could it be used to coat weapons on a 30?
You would know it is not something that you can. One, it's very hard to handle, and two, it doesn't last for very long once it leaves the creature's body.
Could it be used to
fades
devise
within
an
minutes.
anti-venom?
It's not poison.
I mean, more like, could you use it to create some kind of potion that would help deal specifically with this demon's mind-altering effects?
You might be able to if you had the appropriate alchemical tools. Though you're not exactly sure. It's something more of a magical effect. But if you'd like to try, you can.
Yeah, try it, get it wrong, start tripping balls.
Medea themselves probably wouldn't, but they would advise Bart that that's something they think is definitely possible.
An idea.
Can I figure out why he'd be harvesting the? Can I figure out why he's harvesting the eye?
So you know that some of their innate spellcasting power is coming out of the eyes, and that's probably why he's harvesting.
Okay.
To use in later reagents and stuff like that. It's not. I should say it's not strictly speaking the saliva. It's more about just different certain body fluids that cause it, because their claws also do it.
Should there be a gland one could harvest or something?
Maybe, but again, the effect fades rapidly when it's not in their bodies. It only takes Old Bart and Sulveran, about 5 minutes to kind of quickly go.
I'm sorry. Could you?
Okay.
I didn't.
We could hear the rattling of the cup.
I was stirring my Pedialyte. I'm so sorry,
That's
y'all.
Okay. You guys kind of go around the weaker parts of the bone around the eye and rip these things out as intact as possible. Old Bart never breaks chant as he kind of begins to shove it into a bag that he has with him. I can hold that if you want. Otherwise, I would recommend you.
Will has a bag of holding, Anuba has one, right? Yeah.
Will volunteer if she can overhear it, to put the disgusting recently removed eye into the sentient bag of holding.
Perfect.
I was really enjoy that.
I'm sure the bag will love that.
Sulveran offers it up.
What are you
right
putting
over
in me?
Uba's head.
You should think of it like a jewel of a demon, because it can cast spells through it and stuff.
Okay, let me have it.
As I put it in, Will squishes it a little bit more.
as it starts to enter, you can hear, oh no, oh god, why? Where am I going to put this now? As it starts to reorganize its internal space to keep that, in a select corner.
Andrew, while the nerd priests are doing their dissections, Alveron is going to just scout out a little bit further ahead, and just clear the area beyond and make sure that there's nothing else coming down the pipeline.
Okay, go ahead and make me.
Before you roam off, will say, "Be careful, Alveron," to give you bardic inspiration.
So I'll want you to make a stealth check and a perception check. Max, noticing you going off to do this, will join you.
Okay. I'll give you the stealth first.
We're doing a short rest, right?
Yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah, Old Bart will use that for me, otherwise.
And then perception coming.
Man, it's so nice to take a short rest and not have to roll any hit dice.
I'll take the bardic inspiration on that one. Is that a D8?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 22.
Okay. Max kind of lopes behind you, blending in with this. Oh, he should have advantage.
Damn, Max.
This is literally what he's trained for. You two are about as stealthy. He has advantage when he's in dim light. Kind of lopes up next to you, just kind of padding along, sniffing out. You guys go along. The two of you move through the next couple chambers. This next bit seems to kind of wind around, and you hit a couple more cavernous pockets, much like this one, filled with these minorly bioluminescent mushrooms of various different descriptions. However, neither of you do see the tracks that these creatures left behind, large footprints and kind of dirt where their arms were probably being drugged just behind them. However, you do not see evidence of more of these creatures or any other demons. You do, however, also see some tracks suggest that other creatures might have passed through this area in recent days.
Got it. All right. Complete the circuit and come back.
Right. All of you see Alveron kind of step back into this chamber. Report back. The way ahead is clear. After finishing up your business and doing the short rest, you all press on.
As they stand up, Sulveran uses some of the dirt from the cave's floor to get most of the gore off his hands, and then deliberately pulls the cloak of Elvenkind, the hood, back up over his head, hiding the shine of his white hair from view.
I think during the short rest, Will checked in with Sulveran about like how many resources he used in the fight.
Sulveran stares at Will for a very long moment and then just holds his hand up to indicate very, very little.
The
Above
problem
board.
is you have. Go ahead.
Above board, one spell slot.
One.
I do want to ask Alveron. Does Alveron in the future, when you ask him, when we fight demons like that inflict madness, would you prefer I start by giving you some sort of remedy for possession?
Madness, I think, is different than possession. I look over at Uba and I'm just thinking about what happened in the last battle. You know how I feel about losing my mind, but
that protection would also extend. You couldn't be possessed in the mind, or you couldn't be made afraid of things you wouldn't normally be either. You couldn't be compelled.
If it wouldn't hurt your ability to end the fight sooner for everyone else, then yes, I would appreciate that.
I will keep that in mind.
You will keep
packed-
me in mind.
And Medea packed a shit ton of holy water specifically for this. They have like 10 flasks of it in their backpack.
Will says to Sulveran's little bit thing. You see, the problem is that if I do that, it's not her voice, that's Fair's voice. The problem is if I do that, the distance is different. It's not really a useful way of explaining things. What would have happened if you told a member of your tribe something in that way? Sometimes the practicality of Gathites is not a mistake.
Sulveran says, "It merely surprises me that you missed the action. You are very attentive. I cast a single spell, nothing more. Granted, I
What
did
happened at
cast
the
it
very start?
quite a bit stronger than I normally might."
Well, no, this is also there's a lot of things to juggle in the dark. But, it's all right. I'll keep the Gathite practicality going. I've not been exiled from my tribe.
Sulveran clears his throat. "You'll have the sight only for an hour, but if you need it again, I can provide it."
Old Bart kind of seems to slightly overhear this conversation, but that's fine.
Are we using
Just a weird Gathite thing.
Are we using the extra feature from Tasha's where paladins and clerics can use their channel divinity to regain a spell slot?
If you want to, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Ella
Yeah,
gets
and-
arcane recovery during the break, right?
Yes. They will read.
Yeah, I regained one spell slot. My arcane recovery.
Old Bart will say, as you guys are moving forward after this event, the Jagu around. We're getting close. Pretty soon we'll enter into the demon hunters. It's got different names. I forget what the dwarves call it. Just the demon hunters call it blanket of Saliel. The magical dark earlier. Just keep a level head. It'll be fine. And with this, you guys press onward. Moving through the... you're noticeably deeper than you were before. As kind of moving through, there are fewer roads that you're crossing across more well-maintained roads. And you can tell that the stonework around here, when you are in like a carved tunnel, is noticeably more ancient than that up above. Before too long, after about an hour, Alveron, your dark vision potion fades. Go back to grabbing Uba's hand. But for those of you with dark vision, at some point you seem to feel that your vision is receding slightly, almost as though it is failing, but kind of as though the darkness is pressing up against it, like pushing it inwards, deeper. Sulveran, I will say that this effect is not quite as strong on you, but you do notice it trying to push against your senses. Medea, of course, this is blind sight. Perfect.
I think Medea's still like technically using their dark vision, but is starting to lean much more into using the blind sight to see if like something is trying to sneak around them using this like supernatural change in vision. Maybe it affects more than they understand, you know.
So you're kind of more on high alert, trying to out with the sensory senses. As you move forward increasingly, it becomes more and more pressing. Alveron, you, even though blind and you know you can't see, you almost feel turn and see a dark hand reaching out for you, but you blink and then it's gone. Moments later, Will, do you return the blindfold, Will?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
In that case, moments later, Sulveran, you see a similar thing, crooked arm here, until all of you, all around, you can see these different visions. Sometimes arms, sometimes eyes that kind of appear and disappear in the darkness. Every time you wait and look for it, or pause the group to try to find it, you see that there is nothing there except for whatever darkness is around you.
I think combined with the nerves from before that you described, Sulveran has like fully drawn his alpenstock, and it's almost like he's using it to help him walk like as though he were on the ice itself.
Can I get everybody to make me wisdom saving throws for making your way through this blanket?
Do I have a benefit for being blindfolded?
Yes, I'll give you advantage. There's still like whispers that you occasionally hear, but it does help that you're intentionally.
Does it help at all that I'm just not looking, or that I'm focusing through blind sight?
I'll give you advantage as well if you're like intentionally closing your eyes.
Yeah.
Maneuver through.
And Sulveran would get a +3 from my bonus. I would say for the others too, but I'm not sure it would matter, and I'm assuming Bart would as well, and so would Kala.
Bart is functionally immune to this.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to make the roll for Kala?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
Do you want me to make the roll for Keller?
Yes, if you can. Otherwise, I'll pull up it.
No, I don't know what it is. Just tell me what the bonus is.
They have a +1.
Oh, they're as wise as Will. Probably more so.
They have a 13. No.
They are wiser than Will is.
So definitely, there's like the party who's slightly more up in the front who are pretty solid. Some of you are using these tricks to kind of help yourself push past this kind of thing. Kella is kind of gripping onto Will a little bit tightly, but they're moving onwards. Uba and Alveron, you are jumping at every shadow that moves through your way. You are trying to stick close as much as possible, but you are definitely shaken and frightened for the time being.
And we're not helping each other because I'm holding on to Uba, and every time I see something, Uba shits, and every time Uba sees something and freaks out, I shit. So
can we see that?
Yeah, like how obvious.
I think
okay.
With a 6 and an 8, you both definitely notice that this is happening.
I think we left, keeping this under wraps around DC 12, if we're being real about this.
Then Killa would have a 14 as well from the bonus.
I'm pretty.
They're still scared.
Close to Old Bart, right?
Yes.
In the order, I will whisper out in that general direction. If I make a sound with an instrument, that might help those that are making more sounds behind us. There's no end to that sentence. It's just that question.
Music travels far. You can't calm them in another way.
We'll sighs at the inefficiency, but we'll kind of, instead of using the instrument, we'll murmur back calming words to both Alveron and then Uber, and I'll give them both bardic inspiration for for the next 10 minutes. But I'll do it with 2 bonus actions instead of 1 action, which I do realize is functionally not the same thing when we're not in combat. But my sleepy brain was like, that's an insane way to do it.
When I see Alveron obviously panicking, Medea will go up to them and say, would you prefer to close your eyes? I can guide you through the rest of this.
Saying that, you see that Alveron's eyes are already firmly shut, but the grip on Uba just keeps alternating from white knuckling to.
They're doing the like Gooby and Shaggy thing in the back. Only Uba is holding Alveron.
I'll just let them be.
Yeah, it's not that they're screaming in agony.
Medea will
or
move closer to be next to both of them, just in case like one of them tries to run off, but is otherwise just like the equivalent of like a camp counselor with 2 kids in a cabin at night, you know?
Yep, 100%. And I accidentally left my emotional support animal at home, and now, can we just say that Uba is holding me, and then I have Kovu like in my arms, and we're all we're not having a great time, everybody.
Also, the fact isn't Alveron like 5'10"? So the
Yes.
fact that
Yes.
you're like almost 3 times as tall as Uba, but Uba is still carrying you is perfect.
This is why I play wayfish characters.
You said waifish for a second.
Well, that too. Alveron's definitely waifu.
Yeah.
You, though some of you are scared and frightened by this effect, you press onwards. And Old Bart will say, it may be harder to rest down here, frightened by this. Be aware. Pressing onwards, you eventually come to a spot where you can bed down for the night. Bart will say, been traveling long enough. We'll be at the bridge tomorrow. The farthest I've ever been. Lies in the city, I don't. It'll be up to you. After that, I'll follow you, but I'll be hanging back. All out in dire need. If anybody wants to hang back with me, looks at Killa, and maybe for a second glances at Uba and Alveron. You're welcome to do so.
I'm stroking my sea orb and finding bravery.
Yeah, I was gonna say Uba's gonna like look mildly offended at this. Like they're just so brave they can't imagine that they would stay behind and then they immediately get spooked by a shadow.
As you guys sleep, you all can take a long rest except for Uba and Alveron. You feel none of the restful effects of sleep this night. You toss
The
and
people
turn
that don't need it the most.
from the
Right?
darkness.
At least they're not our spellcasters.
Is it a long rest?
It is a long rest.
Before we go to rest,
And
then,
it is
can
the
I put
last
a
one
hand
you'll
on
get
Alveron's-
before you get to the city.
Oh man.
Before we go to the long rest, actually, Medea will put a hand on Alveron's head and attempt to remove curse.
It's not a curse. It does nothing.
Would dispel magic work?
You could try it. Definitely roll.
Okay. Yeah, he'll try. Or they'll try. Come on, give me a good roll. Jesus.
Oh, okay. With a 20, you dissipate the effects on Alveron, at least for the night. Alveron, whatever shadows haunt the edges of your dreams, leave.
Can I flavor it as Medea telling Alveron a boring enough bedtime story that he literally can't shadows? Like he's reading it and he suddenly starts chanting the spell as Alveron is drifting off to sleep. Like he's bored and sleepy to be terrified, at least for the night.
That's so good.
Can I just say, D&D is so much better than therapy, because in real life, I'm the provider, I'm the caregiver, I'm gonna take care of it, everything, and all my D&D characters, every single one of them, fucking bedtime stories from the paladins and hot chalky from the clerics. God bless.
What clerics are you traveling with?
I'm not cheating on you, Charlie, I swear.
But he is like very awkward about it, but they're like tucking like Alveron in because they're like, I can't have our rogue being terrified all day.
All right.
I think Will probably watches that and like looks at Uber and is like, well, it's just gonna come back. So Uber, just learn to live with the fear. Is my suggestion.
I think
Learn
if you
to
said that
live
out
with the
loud, it was going to
fear.
say what fear, and then is going to like pretend that they're going to sleep, even
Oh,
though
I
they're
was
like,
sorry. I
we
was
in-
speaking to Kojin. I just they're next to you.
oh.
Are we in the tiny hut, by the way?
Are you in what?
The tiny hut?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like Sulveran will ritual cast that every time.
Very proud with the what is it now? 7 people, 2 animals,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 10. It works.
Hey, there's 3 animals.
3 animals. One of them,
One
Yeah,
of them's a
cat.
kitten.
one of them significantly
Uh,
smaller than the other 2.
Before Will goes to sleep at the end of the night.
Max weighs
I will
125.
cast 5. Wow.
He might
I
as
will
well be
cast
up
5
for-
sendings.
Actually,
I'm
it's
going
8 people.
to Andrew. I'm going to send to Arakondis to see if he has any like insight into Harkantor.
I need you to make
How do
me
I-
a charisma saving throw. This is a bard spell, right?
Yeah.
For every casting that you're doing of.
Wow.
Well, wouldn't
do
they
I know
notice
that
after
I'm
the
making
first
the charisma
casting?
saving throw?
You can choose not to after the first one. You can. You
Okay.
will be able to tell that it seems to be hard to send magic out from this darkness.
Okay. I will. The first one goes to Arakondis. Gross.
That spell fizzles as you
Hmm.
hear no reply.
What an interesting arcane puzzle to solve. I'd send to Kala.
That would be a 17, right? If it's a save.
Sorry, it's not a save. It's an ability check. This is like
Oh.
I think I
Okay.
Send it
misspoke.
to
on
12.
accident. Okay.
I try sending to Kala.
That seems to work without issue.
I try sending to Tarlis.
That does seem to work. Actually, what do you say?
I say, oh great.
Now you,
Will's
yeah,
like,
I got you in a trap.
Yeah, because Will's like just testing things. Will's like, hello, I am an acquaintance of your apprentice. We're here to rescue you. I'm testing the dampening of this darkness spell. My name's Willow. Don't be dead, I suppose.
What day is it? I've lost track.
Willow, like,
You can't respond. I'm deep in the citadel. I hope this isn't another trick.
Willow, like, full stands up in this hut. It's like Takala, who was probably already drifting to sleep, is like, Tarlis is definitely alive, because I can send to him.
Are you sure? What did he sound like?
Like somebody that was had been captured by demons over a long period of time.
Right.
I didn't expect it to work, so my first message was not super helpful.
Did he say anything useful?
That he was deep in the citadel.
Suppose at least we have a lead now.
Will like looks at Sulveran and says, "Can you locate people?"
I could locate an object with certainty. I have done it before. I could locate a creature. Easier the object.
It might be that we can use this magic as we get into the city to actually easily pinpoint where Taurus is.
Indeed. And I think so. So for locate creature, I can have a specific kind in mind, but if I'm surrounded by creatures, or if I have a creature that's closer to me of that kind,
You
is
can
that
use a name
okay?
or describe a creature that is familiar. It can be a specific creature. It doesn't have to be a kind of creature.
Okay.
But you have to have a good description and all that jazz.
So in that case, Sulveran nods sharply at Will and then turns to Kala and says, "Tell me more about this master of yours. I know a little, but it will increase our odds if Mordain and I know exactly what we are looking for."
Well, last I saw him, Corliss was an older human man, white hair and beard. He had a longer beard, usually with a mustache, although I imagine it's somewhat disheveled. He had the appearance of maybe 55, though I know he was older. Not particularly strong, but always very quick, rather spry. Green eyes, fairly pale skin. Would it help to describe what he usually? I don't think so. I can't cast
Perhaps
that
not.
spell, though I'm aware.
Perhaps not. That's more changeable even than his appearance, his hair. Tell me about him. And he struggles to find like the word in common to describe tell me his personality. It's like who he was.
Right. I talk to anybody. He was always kind, though he could be severe at times. A good master. Studious. The most studious man I have ever met. Always reading, writing, or busy. Very industrious, I suppose you would say. He was never not doing something. Reading a book, researching a spell, traveling to investigate some disturbance. He normally wore armor, dark blue and silver half plate. Carried a helm, although he couldn't. He often didn't use it. He was never really a fighter, but he wore it nonetheless. I actually think that it was illusion that he kept on him. The appearance of well protected. He liked puns, not very good ones. Sometimes you already know this, but he often went by Quill. That sometimes is pen name.
Wait, I'm leaving. I'm
You,
not helping someone that does puns.
you're like, I'm out. That's too far for me.
Quill is a pen name.
He hated coffee. I always remember that. But he loved tea. I think he grew up in Roms, though I never get a straight answer. I know he went to the Lyceum, that he graduated from there years ago. He owned 7 homes, and an owl is his familiar. Snowy owl.
While this is happening, before Sulveran can do anything with this information, Will is going to send back to Torles and say, I've always I'm more partial to Syl than Fel. Is it safe to send to you or try and locate you with magic? Also, tell me something about you that will help with that. Kala is end of 25 words, probably.
he, there's a pause where he's thinking for. If you're close enough to cast such spells, you're already in danger. No rewards for this. Darkness prevents most magic from coming in. He's too long-winded to answer quickly.
Will sends back with the last above 3 spell slot and says, are you often left unattended? To mainly give him more words.
Recently, come down and tell them that pauses again. I'm currently shackled, bruised, but not bloody. They let me kill a gold one. Set into matches Callus pen.
I'll wait for Kala to finish what seems like a cathartic moment of
He
explaining
goes on for
purposes.
some time describing minor qualities that that Torlus has,
Yeah, Sulveran, like about midway through this, and
including
after
that he normally wears slippers, but never goes out without putting on boots.
yeah, Sulveran, like about midway through this explanation, kind of settled into place, and then just kind of like locked eyes with Will as after they finished their conversation with Torlus, and is listening very attentively. Eyes kind of half closed as he's cataloging this person. And when the words finally trickle to a halt, he nods and then glances at both of them and says, "Together, then?" And he offers his hand to either of them because he's going to, of course, pray over this, but he expects Will has something useful, as they usually do.
Yeah. Will take Sulveran's hand and says, he said that he was allowed to keep his ring that matches Kala's pendant, and that he was bruised but not bloody and shackled. And they were leaving him with less supervision of late, which is useful.
Indeed. Is Kala's pendant very visible, or do they keep it under their clothes?
No, it's fairly visible, and they'll show it to you. You've seen it several times.
Sulveran like weighs it in his hand, feels it, and then begins murmuring an invocation to Mordain. And though it starts like the first few ritualistic words are in Gathite, he's aware of his audience in Kala and switches to common. It's much more stilted in common as he finds the words he needs and that he hasn't usually translated. Mordain, Torlus does not belong to you yet, and I think you would will that he should not. Help us find him. And that is how he casts his locate creature, which sounds so diminishing, but
Will also prays, but will pray out of respect to Sulveran's switch to common in Gathite to Syl, and it is as stilted because Will never prays in Gathite.
Sulveran doesn't quite smile, but he just squeezes Will's hand a little bit.
There's just not enough words for moon to pray in Gathite to Syl. That's Will's feeling. There's not enough flowery language for Syl.
You pray as you,
Oh, and I'll bodically inspire you as well.
They
Oh,
don't-
yeah.
There's no roll involved. I don't know why you guys are doing
I
that.
didn't think there was, but I'm like, you seem to be building up to a roll, and I haven't looked at this spell for like 3.5 years.
No,
So,
there is no roll, but I figure this is something we should
I like
invest
it. I
in.
thought it was like
yeah.
you cast the spell focusing upon the words that both Will and Cal have related to you. Description of you reach out, but he is not within 1,000 feet of you. Otherwise, he is blocked by some amount.
Sulveran sits quietly for a moment and then turns to look at Kala and says, "We will have to try again. Perhaps in the morning, when we've traveled a bit distance."
Bart will look over at this. Not sure how that spell works. You have to be within a certain distance. We're still quite far from this. Several miles.
Sulveran just nods. It does not work for several miles.
Will catches an edge of like a piece of knowledge about this spell that she has no real concept of, and goes, "Oh yeah, I should have probably remembered that."
I would wait till we get to the bridge to try it again. Shorter distance.
Thank you.
Goes back to resting.
Who knows? Maybe I can fly somewhere in Dimension Door, pick up your master, and we'll be out. I don't know how I'd get through the shackles.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Will says as she like sleight of hand some thieves' tools into her hand.
Alveron looking around like, where are my thieves' tools?
No, I bought my own. These are like a special Will set.
The thieves'
Like baby's
tools.
first thieves' tools.
I just got fucking clowned on? What?
You all wake up in the morning and break camp, knowing that you are on the precipice about to arrive. You are, not weary, but filled with anticipation as you are getting ready to go. I need everybody to make me that wisdom save again. Traveling.
Motherfucker.
Do I still have advantage?
Yeah, if you are blindfolding yourselves and etc., because that will probably hurt you later on, I will give you advantage.
Have we correctly put the people that are most likely to suffer this near Medea this time?
Yeah.
Like as opposed now that we know that it's a thing.
Man, Medea's
Also,
just
we
like
should have a break after this.
rock solid. Yeah, I'm gonna cut to break as soon as we get to the bridge.
Well,
Boo would have a 17 as well.
that's an
Actually,
8
18 because of the
total.
cape, so Upa is not spooked anymore.
That entire freaking 9 of.
At least he'd have a 15, which I'm not sure if he'll make it or not, but
Jack, you want to roll for Killa as well?
I did.
Okay, everybody's failing this.
So it's
time
just
around.
a bonus, not reroll if we're
It's a
plugging
straight
Medea,
plus
right?
3. Yeah, if you're plugging Medea.
Come
And,
on, Pally. Oh, fuck me. All right,
15
15
is enough.
Jesus.
so Sulveran also has 15.
Okay, so Sulveran
So it's
also.
just Will, Keller, and Keller that
Yeah.
failed this time.
Will Kalakella.
Yes, so
Whew.
perhaps because of your anticipation, because of something about it, but the whispers this time, and it switches as you're getting closer, less physical manifestations and more whispers in your head, sounds and words of dread, voices saying things specific to the individual. Somehow this darkness seems to know certain things about you. Things that you have told people, things that you haven't told people, somehow plugging into your brain. Will you?
As soon as I feel it start to affect me, I'll dispel magic my own, like myself.
Okay.
To
I
try
think
and get rid of it.
No.
All right, that's fine. I know when I'm meant to be suffering.
Yeah, Will, you kind of hear somebody telling you, extolling every once in a while, you abandoned them. Would be ashamed. Talking
It's
about
already in Will's head all the time anyway.
talking
That's not
about
unusual.
talking about your master, speaking that they're dead. Stuff like that. That tries to just like, and it's constant. It's just for hours. You're just hearing this over and over again. It's both annoying and like grating. It digs into you as you're moving through this. Some of you are able, especially with Medea. Medea's aura seems to push it back slightly, but not enough for some of you to be able to withstand this kind of intense. It's basically psychological torture that you're being during this leg. Eventually, though, you move into out of a smaller passage and into a large, what at one point in time was a grand dwarven road, wide enough that you could fit maybe a dozen carts across at the same time. Carts, right? You move out of a tunnel into a wide, vast cavern, much like Galmador. Even though you can't see it very well, you can just feel the size of the chamber has changed based off of the air. And there's a bit of a breeze in here that isn't normally present due to the size of everything. You can see, those of you who have a significant amount of dark vision, two large statues flanking what you can only assume to be a bridge. There is a pit or abyss on either side of it. The statues look to be like they were recarved a little bit, like they were once something else and had then been changed. But you see two demons on either side. One kind of lithe and snake-like almost, kind of bearing things down upon you as you walk underneath it, holding a large trident in one hand. The other one, kind of tall, built, powerful, with wings, kind of hulking behind it. It holds a massive sword in one hand as it kind of points out with the other one. Beyond, you can see, even through the magical darkness, that there are some pockets of light that form the silhouette of a city. Bits and pieces of small torches, various other kinds of fire illuminates very, very tiny patches of this massive chamber, the city beyond. As you guys get up to it, that's where we're going to break. So we will take a short break and be right back for some more. See you all in just a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Imris Saga Rising Shadows campaign, Chapter 3, Session 2.
Harley gave us the name of this session during the break, but I'm not going to tell anyone until I make the thumbnail.
Ooh.
Oh. And she
I
said
don't
it
know
out
what it is
loud,
either,
not,
guys.
You
not
do,
in chat.
Charlie. You do.
Guess we'll have to all wait. Okay. So you guys are now currently facing down this long bridge. On either side of it, there is ground going off to the left and the right, so you can go around. You don't have to cross the bridge right away, at least. You don't know how far that ground goes. And you can see that on either side there is a significant drop. You don't know how far down it goes. It seems to be endless from your positions. Even Sulveran cannot see the bottom.
Can I make some kind of intelligence or insight check to kind of grasp how much of my innate processing power is going to warding off this psychological torture thing?
Sure.
I want to know I want to try and work out how much worse I'm going to be at doing stuff, basically. What role? Investigation?
Sure. Insight.
Well, I'll take investigation.
About yourself.
Then Arcana? Persuasion.
Oh, you just rolled a 2.
Well,
it doesn't seem to be affecting your ability to cast spells or concentrate on them. But you do not think that you will be able to comfortably rest and regain spells while suffering
Can I make
effect.
Can I make some kind of religion check to see if there's a way I could ward off the fear or danger? Like maybe using holy water or giving some kind of blessing.
Sure, go ahead and make a religion check.
Okay.
You could also feel free to ask old Bart questions.
Okay, I'll consult with old Bart then for advantage and ask him if he can think of a way to maybe divine and do something with the alchemical flask.
Sure. Go ahead, you can roll with me. Go.
Okay. 27 instead.
Bart will help in trying your mind by saying, as far as I know, this darkness was placed here by the Dark Goddess. I am not aware of any who easily overcome it other than the strength of your mind or through some magical. So, such magic needs to be powerful. Overcome the lingering effects that it is.
Do you think?
Like an ever-present curse or a blight that has been put upon this area.
Do you think with some modification of holy water, perhaps with a tincture that sharpens the mind, something could be made to help somebody resist it or press it out of their mind?
Perhaps. I have grown used to it. The few demon hunters who have tread this far beneath the ground say that either breaks you, break it. Eventually, you are naturally able to overcome it. At least I and some others have found. However, it is an arduous process. For me, it was part of my.
Do you think there is any way to help them build up that resistance, to help them break it faster?
Thanks for those who are strongly aligned with deities must prayer to supplement their natural. Other than that, I do not know such. Me and mine to rely on training.
I can tell that Sulveran is not. Oh, did Sulveran overcome it?
Yeah, your paladin aura.
Sulveran just barely.
He's unhappy, but it's not the shadows that have him unhappy. It's the being underground.
Old Bart will also say, I will warn you as well. It'll get worse before it gets better. You may find, if we are down here for long enough, that it is harder to overcome before it becomes.
Resisting the unnatural forces that would plague my mind is something I'm more adept at than most, significantly more so. And that's Medea's way of trying to convey to Bart that he has an incredible, resilience to this specific kind of thing.
It may come to pass that it no longer is something that you have to actively.
Medea will go to Will and ask if, Will, do you want me to try a magical remedy for the fear I worked on Alveron?
Will says, I tried something as well, but if you would like to, I'm more than happy to accept your aid, but perhaps your strength will be needed elsewhere if my mind remains a little bit occupied.
Can you help me help you? As he prepares to cast.
Sure. It hurts here and here. And she gives you bardic inspiration.
Okay. I'll try a dispel magic. So it's a d20 plus 3. If I try to essentially dip my hands in holy water first and spread it, put it at a little bit of Will's head, and then pour it around Will in a circle, does that help at all? Like trying to almost use a ritual or religion to press away the shadow.
I'll tell you what. I'll let you make a religion check with wisdom to give yourself advantage on the ability check.
Okay. So that'd be 2 plus.
You need at least a 16.
Okay.
On the religion check to give.
I'll give.
And again, it's with wisdom, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, no, that is with wisdom. I only have 1 less than normal. So 12 total, so I'll make the roll flat then. Okay, 1d20 plus 3. And then I'm going to add the d8. 14.
Unfortunately, try as you might, you aren't able to push the effects away. You feel it is almost within your grasp to cleanse Will's mind of these maddening voices, but not able to do it.
I think as Will feels it fail to push the extra weight of these voices. What's it? It's peculiar in that it's how my mind is talking to itself anyway. So maybe it's slightly more difficult. But she kind of shrugs. She says, old Bart said something about the divine, those that have strong links to a divinity.
Prayer can help.
She takes out her ocarina, the ocarina of Syl, and she holds it to her chest. And I will pray to Syl to see if that connection can sever this. Make a roll, or do you want
yeah,
to make
up
a prayer?
No, make a religion check. If you want to make up a prayer, I might get.
I can't think of one. There's something in my brain about praying for obscurity, not through devilish devilish oppression, but through elegant deceit or something. But I can't do it this early in the morning without having slept. So,
Sulveran. Oh.
Well, with a 17, you feel your mind is put somewhat at ease. The effect doesn't fade entirely, but you do feel some of the pressure on top of the normal pressure that's on your mind be pushed away. So you can regain spells normally now. However, you still do not receive the same restfulness from resting. You still cannot regain dice.
All right, I think Will takes a deep breath and murmurs a thank you to Syl. It's weirdly in giant, even like it's unwillingly in the most unusual language that Will knows. It's like this really guttural rumble, and she turns to Medea and says, "The prayer to Syl eased some of my worries about it."
I am glad. If you have trouble regaining health or take harm, I will do my best then to aid you in the ways I can.
Will smiles and nods and says, "We should either go across this bridge or..." Then she kind of looks at the others to see if any of them are interested in trying to skirt around the bridge.
I may have an alternative method to go across, but not necessarily take the bridge. Medea will use the Ring of Telekinesis. And can I ask, if people are standing on an object, does it count as worn or carried?
Yes.
Okay, so if someone's on top of it, it counts as worn or carried.
Yes, otherwise you could just fly.
Okay. I could try flying across to see if it's too far, and if it's not, perhaps we could use the wings and go one by one.
Do you think the worry is that if there is something waiting to defend the bridge,
Actually,
you going across by yourself puts us in a bad situation?
I'll say you can telekinesis thing that people are standing on top of, but the thing they're standing on top of has to be able to adequately support their weight.
Yeah, like you can't throw, or like as part of it too, you can't like throw them around. Like it.
You can pick up and throw a person,
Okay.
but you can only target one thing with telekinesis.
He'll also say, perhaps I could lift up a section of the earth and move it across us, act as a platform.
Hmm.
It's certainly an option if we don't need to worry about the visibility of what we're doing.
Sulveran's going to clear his throat. It's a very low, almost awkward sound. If the concern is being seen, I believe that Syl will allow me to conceal something for quite some time. And he can cast greater invisibility, which you would never know because he would never do that, but extremity calls for that.
We haven't done this for a while. Who here can fly? Like, we'll look at the video, obviously.
Uba scrunches
And
up
then-
their nose like the idea is absurd and awful.
Will and Sulveran have both raised their hands.
Alveron starts to raise his hand. Is like, oh wait, fly? No. Oh,
No, I thought you meant lie. I understand.
I can do that. Yeah.
Well, maybe if we go across and from a higher vantage point, check things out and return.
I can't fly that long with my wings, but perhaps I can lift up a portion of the earth and carry myself that way.
Also, I can just fly off and have a look. I can always get back quicker or send a message.
You're also much stealthier than I, so it lend itself.
I think Will looks at everyone and kind of has been holding Kella and Kella's hands basically this whole time. And as she has really been a bit more relieved, the others are still gripping equally hard. And she says, maybe you two should stay with old Bart and Maximus for a little while.
Yes. You all run into trouble. They'll have some backup.
I think that Uba is going to pipe up at this point and say, would it be helpful at all? I don't know if I'd weigh you down, but perhaps if you carried me across, I could use some of my magic to make your travels even stealthier.
We'll
Also,
nod
maybe
to
if you need a sword, and they wave their short sword around dramatically.
That's a fantastic idea, Uber, and I'll walk up and I'll just try and pick Uber up.
Uba's only 2 feet tall, so it shouldn't be that hard.
Yes, I don't think Will can lift you and fly. Will only has 6 strength. And they are already carrying a
Noodle
fair
arm.
amount on themselves.
Yep.
And you have 124
Oh,
pounds of stuff
all
on
of-
you, Uba.
All of my stuff
To be
that is
fair,
on
though.
me is not on me.
A significant
it's
amount
in
of both of your things are on your in bags and stuff, but I think just
Will is doing it assuming
just
that she-
Uba and the armor would put Will at encumbered.
Hmm.
I have
actually
+2 in
greatly.
athletics though. So,
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the way that encumbrance works.
Worth a shot, though.
but yeah,
If it were
We'll just, like,
any other character,
nothing.
they could probably lift you, but not Will.
So Uba can't just hang on to Will
just
while Will's
flap.
cloak does the flying.
If it was
Capuchin.
Sulveran, then I'm sure that would be easy, but yeah, I guess not Will.
Sulveran's going to just
Doesn't that cloak require you to be using your hands as well?
You have to be flapping it.
yeah. That's why I was imagining Uba just like
Piggyback
Capuchin
ride.
monkeying.
Will knew that she couldn't pick Uber up. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to pick Uber.
yeah, yeah.
Uber jumps, and that's how high Will can lift Uber off the ground for about the length of a jump.
Calla will say, you're going to be going on ahead. I can make you invisible.
Sure, I will always take extra aid.
I'll quickly cast invisibility on you.
That lasts for a minute, right?
Lasts for an hour.
An hour, great. Will takes off immediately anyway. But is hovering about 5 feet off the ground away from the group to see if they start talking about her behind her back.
Yeah, yes. The usual.
Alveron's just looking at Will.
Immediately, old
Just
Bar encounter
completely
like
lost in the sauce.
Man, fuck
Just
that person.
absolutely swimming in it.
You fly. You just want to like fly across the bridge and check out.
No, I want to
or-
fly. I want to fly. This is a huge open cabin, right?
As far as you can tell, it's definitely you cannot see the top. So and it feels like it goes up quite a bit.
I want to fly 90 feet above the ground. I'm seeing through my cat still, but I'm gonna like fly 90 feet across and see if there's anything up here that I can see in this like 30-foot range or whatever the cat's vision is. And then I'm gonna try and judge roughly where the edge of the bridge is, and then I'm just gonna drop my cat and see through its eyes until it splats on the ground.
Oof.
It's made of magic.
Oh,
This is
yes.
Sorry,
the thing that
I'm
Will
just
doesn't
trying
like
to.
doing.
You want to throw it over the bridge to like the pit below. Am I
No.
understand that right?
On the bridge.
You want to throw it onto the bridge.
Yeah, but at the very end of the bridge.
You're doing like the
Okay.
long side of a triangle.
Got it. Okay, I was just
Yeah.
trying to understand what you meant there. So you
Yeah.
you fly down and then toss the cat.
Well, I dropped the cat. I'm not throwing it with more force.
Well,
If
sure.
the cat survives 90 feet falling.
I think from
Good
your
job,
90
cat.
feet, it is dropping. What is that? 9d6? Let me just.
Oof.
I think that's right. I might be wrong.
I feel like cats
This is
should
the most
inherently
fucked
have
up
like a
canary in a
super
coal
small-
mine I've ever heard of.
It is literally a particle of magic that's turned into a fey kitten.
You know, you
I was
can
gonna
make
say,
a dex
you're not around the group. 'Cause,
You can make
like,
a
I
dex
feel like
saving
most of us
throw.
would freak out.
on the cat. Just to maybe
A
help it
dex
out?
save?
Yeah.
I don't have cat stats off the top of my head.
Hey, just roll a d20 while I look it up real quick.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's got 1 health, but
17.
Will cares about this cat, but also on a logical level knows that it is literally just a wisp of magic that she has summoned. In its own world, she wouldn't do this.
I'll give cats the fall damage is reduced by a third.
You give cat monk slow fall.
Yeah. If I roll low enough, no. It still perishes with the 1 HP. In the time that you drop it at the end, you can see out through the cat's eyes what seems to be a large wall. Probably one of the biggest walls that you've seen. That at the center of which, at least where the cat is, at the end of the bridge, is a large gate that seems to be made out almost entirely out of metal. With different kinds of carvings on it, although if the cat is falling, you don't get that good a look at something. You can see battlements on either side. You don't, at a glance, see like guards
can I retcon
or
one thing?
patrols. Yes.
Can I cast Featherfall on the cat
Sure.
as it drops?
Yeah,
I forgot
that's
I'm
an
a
option.
wizard.
Hold on. Did we absolutely just have our Matt Mercer die you fucking goldfish die moment? Because this absolutely feels like that moment.
Well, this cat took like 3 damage, but yeah. So as it's like dropping, as it's just hitting the edge of Will's range, Will's like, "Oh, the brain fog has lifted for a second." Featherfall.
Despite fully knowing I didn't have Featherfall, and also knowing that Sulveran wouldn't, even if he could, do anything about this, I frantically scanned my sheet for Featherfall.
You cast
I
Featherfall
just
on the cat.
completely blank.
A second after dropping it, realizing, oh, I don't have to, return this cat to its other plane. I will say, phrase it the nice way.
Mhm. That is that's what would happen.
And so the cat drifts down like a feather. You still see the gate. You see the battlements. Again, you don't see visibly any creature actively patrolling on top of this wall. It seems pretty empty and silent at the moment. Although you know that there must be creatures. You can see, since it's feather falling and not falling, you can see more detail on the gate. You can see that at one point in time it had 2 dwarves kind of brought together on the 2 halves of the gate. It's like not a drop-in file. That were coming together and holding aloft some what seems to be a large ingot of some kind of metal. However, the dwarves have been given a garish and almost nightmarish face. They look kind of like they've been altered to be thinner or spindlier, and you imagine the city that was depicted like kind of beyond them, what was at one point bright and glorious and gleaming, now looks dark and decayed.
The gate's closed.
The gate is closed.
I'll fly above the cat as the cat like wanders around the gate to see if there's any other like way to get in it that isn't through the gate.
You kind of walk around on the other side for a little bit. You do notice the gate does have a smaller kind of port door type thing, although that might probably also is barred of some kind. The walls seem to be maybe 70 feet tall or so. They're pretty massive. So they are made out of stone and they could be climbable. You don't see any other obvious point of egress. There are some slits in the walls at points, defensive measures and stuff like that. but there's not another. At least I'm assuming you only let them go like a half hour at most off direction.
Yeah, I'm also I have to fly above it to be seen to its eyes. So I
Yeah.
remain 9 feet above it.
At least nearby, and there are parts where like the cat can make it, but you're not sure all your companions would be able to make the space between the wall and the sheer cliff that seems to go down. So this gate seems to be it. You're going to fly over or climb the wall.
All right. I'll head back and I'll have the cat walk along the bridge all the way back, but I will go back quicker.
You all see that the bridge is lined, well, from the little bit, if you're flying ahead, that you can see. The bridge is lined with other statues. It too does not seem controlled.
I reappear probably close to when the invisibility would run out.
The rest
and
of
I
you
announce
have
my presence
moved. Sorry, go ahead.
By casting prestidigitation and creating like a puff of. It emulates Keller's magical signature of like the shadowy magic, and just like I appear in that by casting a spell to break the invisibility.
Okay. You will notice that the party has moved slightly off the road to be kind of, in case somebody passes, they could. But the rest of you see will return.
There's a giant wall with a gate in it. The gate's closed. We could theoretically climb it. The wall's only about 70 feet up, so we could maybe fly and set some things up to help that. I didn't see any patrols of any kind through the whole trip.
I assume the demons don't expect any kind of assault. Perhaps there are some inside the city, but
Uba says, or they could know that we're here already. Uba's thinking like
Yes,
demons are ambush predators.
That is absolutely the most optimistic and the most pessimistic way to look at the situation. Sulveran, do you have somewhere in between that?
In between is not really my specialty. While we are here, perhaps, and he looks to Bart for this, based on your knowledge of the city, is it a time for me to reach to Toralus, or should we wait once more?
Do you know more specifically where he?
Just the deepest part of it.
Sulveran looks to the chasm
I
and
would-
is like,
I would say it's probably better to wait till we're in a position where we're going to try to rest, in case we come up against something.
I have seen. I've never, as I said, never been beyond this. I've seen some very old images, drawings, renditions, which would suggest to me that the Citadel would be beyond your magic's reign. Told me.
Let's move across the bridge, I suppose.
Before we leave, can Uba do one quick thing?
Yes. Maybe.
Okay, I think that Uba is kind of freaked out about the idea of going into another demon city. So I'm gonna say Uba has had a pendant for Mordain since like we were in the desert city. So I think that Uba's gonna take a second and step to the side and kind of like hold the pendant up to their mouth like it's a microphone. And in Draconic, because they are like a little embarrassed, they're gonna kind of clear their throat and say, this is the first time I've prayed in maybe ever. I'm not sure, but figure it's worth a shot. You seem like you might be maybe a cool god. I don't know. Sulveran seems to think you're pretty neat. But I was hoping that maybe I could ask for a bit of protection in this city. I know that gods don't like demons very much, so if you perhaps have any, I don't know, godly wisdom or blessings. I would certainly appreciate it. And then they look at the pendant like it's going to do something.
Roll me a D100.
Oh, God. Okay.
Sulveran's been a terrible influence on Uba and their prayers.
There's just so
I'm
much
getting
in
my ice
universe. In universe, more about Mordain not answering.
You don't hear anything back.
Okay.
You're not sure if you didn't pray right, or maybe they can't hear you at the moment. They might be busy.
Yeah, Upa just kind of. I know telephones don't exist, but it's kind of like the equivalent of if you call someone, there's a busy tone. It's like, oh, maybe they'll call back later.
Maybe.
How, I know you said they stepped away and did it in Draconic, but how overall obvious was this scene?
I feel like it would be obvious that they were up to something because this is such a, like, odd thing for them to do because they're not religious. So you probably noticed that Uba is, like, acting strangely and maybe talking to one of their necklaces. I'm not sure if you'd know which one.
Okay. Sulveran just looks at Will and the others like, do they normally do that? Like, that's clearly the expression.
Bill says, well, I've known Uber longer than all of you, and I've never seen them talk into a necklace before. But who knows? Lord Uber may have picked up some kind of magical talkie necklace that they didn't ask me to identify.
That wouldn't honestly be off-brand.
Unrelated to all of that, Sulveran, do you think I could cast Sending to a god?
It's like Sulveran's brain has gone offline. the combination of the idea of casting mortal magics in the direction of a god.
Like drunk dialing a god.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's seen Will cast a lot of sendings, plus the fact that Mordain never answers him, like culminates.
Could I call the president?
If that works, if you find success, I think I shall be severely offended.
But
Oh, by the way, oh, good.
if it helps, I would probably send to Syl, who in her secretive nature wouldn't respond. So.
What were you saying, Andrew?
Anybody who
Okay.
didn't mention that.
Sulveran's one eyebrow arches very high at Will because of the two of them, Syl in their secretive nature has talked a lot more.
Do you only have one eyebrow? Is that
No.
because you're half exiled?
He raises one eyebrow. The other eyebrow stays where it normally would. But he also is going to turn to Alveron and say, because he remembers that Alveron was the one that was more afraid. Alveron's not scared now, right?
No.
Okay, he's going to turn to Alveron and say, however dark it is in there, remember, the sea is also quite dark at times. This is his best attempt at being helpful.
Alveron is just sitting there with some hardtack and beef jerky, contemplating how they've gotten to this point. And then they were just reminded about the oppressive darkness that floats about them at all times and the dark call of the sea that awaits them should their shambling corpse make it out of this underground nightmare.
I think Will notices Sulveran's attempt at what Will, I think, insightfully knows was support, but seems like bullying. And pulls out of the bag of holding like just a quarter of a bottle of rum and like pours some for Alveron and just hands that to him. Like,
oh good, my characters have the same coping mechanisms. Great.
I think maybe
Therapy.
maybe the overbearing darkness is not the best correlation to the sea.
No,
The
rum
sea
is
can
dark
never
too.
be-
I like it.
But the sea can never be contained. It is always moving and always flowing. Even at its darkest points, Sulveran.
And this is comforting. Yes?
Alright, when we get out of here and I can cast out of this darkness, I'm going to try and talk to Mordain directly.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving, by the way, being stuck between two philosophers trying to explain their philosophies to each other, and Alveron sitting in the middle, drinking as fast as he can.
At least you got rum from one of them.
I'm 100% on Team Rum. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah. We
I
did.
feel like Dia's just in the back reading a book, completely unbothered by the shadows. This has never caused an issue for them. They're just
They're
No.
just like
eh.
head empty, no thoughts, cannot be
Yeah, they're
disturbed.
just like reading a book on like ancient cities below the earth while they're talking, and they're like, "This is interesting. I didn't know the architecture was like this."
Okay.
I
Can
like
you-
the idea of reading a book with blind sight.
I'm not sure how that works. You got some braille going on. Anyways, to get back to the history thing.
Oh yeah.
I
Which Sulveran?
while you guys were talking, I pre-typed some possibly relevant terms down into the thing. So, Medea, you know that this city was once ruled by dwarves. It was one of the dwarven holds, but then it fell a long time ago, even before the Blight, like very early on in the demon conquests, or the kind of the early demon attacks down in the underground before they appeared elsewhere. You are currently standing in front of the Bridge of Talak. Talak is the founder of this city, was revered by its people. A long time ago, Talak was thought to be rivaled only by the king of the Khor Commonwealth in terms of prestige, wealth, and power. Will, you would know from your readings about the city that you did kind of in preparation that the citadel is should be in the center of the city. Once you pass through the gates, in theory, you should be able to head straight and find it. In practice, that you may not want to do that because you'll be following along a central main road, and that would probably likely be more watched than other places. You will also remember in your histories that when the demons came up from here, they brought with them dwarves which had been turned to serve demons, with incredibly pale, ash-like skin, hair that gone permanently gray, faces of fear and fright, but still formidable foes. They came up to the round above. Some people called them the Dark Dwarves. Other people called them Demon Dwarves or Duergar. Sulveran, you remember reading at some point or learning in your histories, perhaps amongst your clan's legends, that somewhere in this city, supposedly, was the lair hit for the great dragon, Shadow Dragon, Orkarshai, who tore the mountaintop off of Galmador and laid waste to most of the heartlands of the Rounian Empire. That's kind of some things that you know about this city.
Sulveran, how long can you fly for?
Sulveran knows, but Charlie don't. One moment, please. I think it's a minute.
You can just fly as
A
long
minute.
as long as it's in dim or dark light, can't you?
No, it's a minute. I can do it 3 times, but I don't want to know what happens if it runs out and I try to retool it while I'm in the air. But yeah, a minute. In dim or dark only.
Hmm. Do I have a scroll of fly? Am I that smart?
And also in response to this question, Sulveran very gravely holds up his fingers and makes that small gesture again. Waits a long beat, then winks and says, "A minute, no more."
That's actually wrong. You can do it 4 times. Though. Your sheet was never adjusted.
Will Will is
Hero
actually
gem.
too focused on the idea that she has to notice whatever snarky nonsense Sulveran's doing. Although that's pretty mean. I was thinking, as she like looks around trying to piece together where the other half of the warp anchor is, and I think Medea has it.
No, your other
Our half
person has it.
is with Medea. Yes, the simulacrum has it.
Yeah.
Way
Oh,
back where.
sorry, I misunderstood you.
But Will is normally carrying it, but had given it to Medea. If we had the warp anchor, I could just fly into the city tomorrow, and we could all teleport to somewhere. Would be easier if Sulveran or Medea could fly for longer, but it's an idea. Otherwise, we should start walking down this bridge.
Actually, before we do that, Ubo will cast Pass Without a Trace just to be safe.
Okay. Assuming you guys are all stealthing. Okay.
Oh man, I have a thing. I have a thing for this. I have advantage.
I wish Kala was
Oh
stealthy.
my god, I got a 17 with a -1 at disadvantage. So 27.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to be okay.
Does this count as a stealth check made to hide? Because I think I get advantage if that's the case.
From the cloak? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one time in my life as Sulveran that I have an advantage on stealth.
I think the
have
party
worst roll of
average is like
21.
a 27 in total.
Oh yeah, I'm
or
fully
something
aware
like
that this party can carry my ass. It's just I thought for once they might not have to.
It is, I think, probably slightly higher than 27, but it's very high.
Pretty high. Blanketed by Uba's Pass Trace, you turn the deep darkness into an ally in this particular situation, cloaking yourselves in a more comfortable and pleasant shadow. You all move slowly across the bridge, kind of sticking to either side. There are it's not like this is not a Star Wars or Lord of the Ring bridge. There are significant railing on either side, which you kind of duck down into as you move yourselves along. Eventually, you come. The bridge is quite long. It's like 500 feet or so long. You're walking for quite a while. Eventually, you come to the end, and you can see the gate as Will described. Nothing seems to have been alerted to your presence. Not all of you can see all the way to the top. Sulveran, I think, is the only one. You don't see anybody peering outwards.
It is as you said. There's nobody atop the wall. Has Bart left us at this point? Did we leave him or?
They're following behind.
Okay.
They're kind of stealthing maybe a couple hundred. They're slowly following you. If you guys are planning on climbing, they will climb after you, taking their time with it. Otherwise, they'll be with you if you're going to fly or figure out another way.
Are we climbing?
What's that?
We can either climb or open the gate, but I think opening the gate's louder.
I can try climbing. It's something I'm adept at.
Sulveran holds his hand up to stay Medea for a moment. Did you see, so is Bart within, could I have asked before we went, whether or not he has the power?
For the future, if you're not in combat, you can always backtrack a little bit and find old Bart, Kala, and Max. And ask them.
Do you have the power to see things that hide in the shadows that are completely invisible? Sulveran can, but he has to waste a spell slot, so he will ask to find out first.
Wait, who has the helm
You,
of Justicar?
I thought you did, but then you took off all the armor, so I thought nobody did at this point.
I mean,
Just
Medea's
checking.
blind sight still lets them see invisible, just only within 10 feet.
Right, which might not be.
Yeah.
I thought
So I
you-
have the helm. I'm just not attuned to it
I
anymore.
thought you gave
Shit.
that to Sulveran.
See, that's what I thought. I thought I gave it away.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Sulveran has a free slot. I just
Well, then you
I love
now have
how
the
every 2
helmet.
sessions there's like, oh, I thought we gave that item to someone, and the person's like,
it's probably my fault. I will attest to that. All right.
hey, I was not blaming anyone else.
Every
we
time I
always do
think
this.
Jack is about to like be supportive, he just goes full dick, and I love it so much. Like there's this moment
man.
where I have this glimmer of Jack bestowing a rainbow of decency, and then all of a sudden it's like full unsheath of asshole, and that's not a very nice verb.
The
to
hey,
use.
you're
I
wrong.
Nope.
Oh, that's good. Somebody's got to do it. I definitely remember having this conversation about the helmet. I have added it to Solarian's sheet. You have it. You're attuned to it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Daddy. All right, so Sulveran is definitely peeling around, looking for anything that might just be hiding out in the shadows for them. Ambush style.
Okay, make a perception check since you're kind of actively taking.
Indeed. Muttering to still as he does. Oh, can't
Well,
see
you got
shit.
punished for muttering to Syl.
Right? So it's like, yeah, I will hide these demons from you.
What do you mean, hidden things?
The helmet doesn't let you perceive beyond the wall still, but as far as you can tell, there's no invisible creatures up on the wall.
If they're invisible, they're both invisible and stealthy.
Well, you're all adept at climbing.
Could I borrow those gloves?
I'm going to, since we waited for old Bart to catch up, I'm going to pick up Keller. Well, probably Keller's too old for Will to pick up as well. Touch Keller's shoulder and just dimension door to the top and, unfurl rope.
Okay, yeah, easy enough.
Okay.
I think the only person who might have really failed that is probably Will. I actually will check it.
My athletics is not bad. I'm proficient in athletics. Because I had to climb rigging when I was...
Most of you
Yeah,
are,
but-
surprisingly.
Yeah. Uba has the climbing gloves, so they should be fine.
Yeah. Athletics is my lowest skill check, and it's a +2.
Yeah, actually, you all have athletics, which is interesting. I did not realize that.
The
Prior
most
to
working
unusual
out
skill to
downtime.
share. But yeah,
Clap
Will was
your hand.
worried about Keller climbing a wall, so
Yeah, that's
gets
true.
up there and will unfurl rope out of the bag of holding and secure it with sailor's knot of some kind.
To give Keller more. So with the rope, it's fairly easy for you all to. I mean, you're taking the time. You're kind of climbing up. Will, as you get to the top and you're looking about alongside Keller, you can't see the. There is a city below, and it's not quite as ruined as you might have expected. There are buildings here and there, right down below you that you can see that seem like houses and decently well maintained, or well maintained enough at least, that you could live in them okay. It's certainly more well maintained than Alveron, which was very much dilapidated in comparison. You look down either battlements, and you don't see anybody. Everybody quickly. It does take you a little bit because again, 70 feet tall walls. But you all, spend a few minutes till everybody is up on top of the battlements. There's no obvious staircase on the side right here, but you can see a trapdoor next to the gate, or on the battlement next to the gate. That If you want to rope back.
Will recovers the rope. Well, Will asks Sulveran to pull the rope up because pulling 100 feet of rope up is hard work.
Sulveran is, of course, happy to do so. He's probably just 100 feet up the rope. It's going to be very heavy duty. So he contemplates like coiling it on the ground, but then he just like tosses one end at Medea and just sort of like they're short. He's just sort of draping like rope.
Medea's a rope mannequin. That's
You,
right.
Medea's fine with it.
you swiftly recover your rope.
Firstly, all of these houses are in like actual good condition. We might be able to find somewhere more comfortable to stay, minus the cloying and inevitable darkness that's eating away at our minds.
So when Will started saying that, I thought she was about to advise some sort of real estate fraud. Like, the
Who was
houses are
ready?
actually in pretty decent
Maybe we
condition,
should
you know?
move people in down here.
I'm thinking a little spackle, a light spell every couple of yards. Like, listen, this is a real fixer-upper.
Hey, if you guys want to change the campaign completely to clear out the city and rent it out and become landlords, be my guest.
Jack is
Already
seriously considering putting a lot more vodka in his Red Bulls.
I don't drink, but maybe after today.
I like the House Hunters of Imris vibe, honestly.
Escape to the demon country. Anyway, so we might be able to find somewhere nice to hole up while we cast our spells and look for Toralus. And Will directs the attention to like the obvious way down from the battlements, but also says we could also just tie the rope back.
That works.
Or everyone jump. That was fun last time.
Medea jumps now.
I'll trust you to survive the damage. It's only 7d6 anyway.
They try to aim for their head first.
The clatter of all that
And
metal
take
is
critical
what
damage.
alerts the demons to us. Medea's just, that stocky.
Medea
But we
just
never realized
turns
that
to
Medea
Will.
is a jar with arms.
Medea
Keeps
turns to
getting
Will
smacked in the
and is like,
I'm trying
aim
to
for the
sneak through the
bushes.
infested demon city, but the clap of my armor keeps alerting the guards.
Fucking god.
Aim for the bushes.
I love that.
That's a good reference.
I appreciate it.
It's not actually Medea's armor that gives them disadvantage on stealth checks. They just pretend that's what it is.
It's the clap of their cheeks. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, I
Okay.
was
I'm
afraid
going
to
to,
say it, but I'm glad you did.
Will leave this decision to everybody else, and will actually just jump up and fly down to the ground. If you're all going to talk about Medea's cheeks, Will is not there for that. But will, under circumstance, leave Cal.
Will, you land on cold cobblestone. So
I would like to aim for the bushes.
you land on 0 bushes. Or none.
No!
Where's George H.W. when you need?
God damn it.
What a weird cut.
Hold on, wait.
Can
Wait.
we stop here?
I'm considering
Wait.
it.
Jack, I can do a desk pop.
I like it.
Thank you.
I'm very upset by the way that this session has deteriorated.
Alright, you guys climb down. Is that right? Is that what I heard?
I don't know, I left because nobody was making a decision.
I think Uba's going to take the stairs and suggest that we leave the rope there for a quick exit. It would be easier to climb up the stairs and drop down the rope.
I already took the rope back.
Never mind.
Medea will just grab the rope they also have and then drop it down.
Okay, you quickly secure some rope. You want to drop it down on the bridge facing side, right? My understanding. I'll take your silences.
I was going to go city facing so that we could climb down into the city.
Oh, aren't there?
I thought Uba was suggesting the
Oh my
rope.
god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uba wants to take the stairs. They're like, this is enough
Yeah,
climbing. I'm just gonna
Uba
take the
wants
stairs
to
like
leave the rope
Okay.
so you guys can like slide down if you need to leave quickly.
I feel like I'm in a
Okay,
Zoom
yeah,
call with a
I'll
bunch
leave-
of like 60-year-olds because
I'll
none of
leave
us have the
rope there.
details
I'll
right.
leave the rope there.
Okay.
I'm guilty too.
We're gonna fast forward.
Eva was joking. I was like,
If
"Yeah,
something
okay,
was gonna happen on this
move the
development,
briefcase."
I've decided it doesn't. You leave a rope. You leave an escape route. Those of you open up the trapdoor, finding a tower within. It does have some weapons in it, like steel, similar style to dwarven forging, but not quite the same. There's like if none of you are really expert smiths, but all of you notice that like the style's slightly different. It's all common weaponry. None of you see any kinds of markings or anything on it as far as you can tell. You walk down the stairs, eventually arriving at a door leading out, where you find Will silently tapping, hitting. You are now within the city.
I silently applaud their decision-making skills.
You can see, now that you're in the city, that there are lights placed at intervals. They are a dark purple light, however, that give everything a slightly lavender-ish haze to it, the places that you can see. And it's not enough that it's fully illuminating everything or preventing it or putting bright light on anything. This is all dim light. So those of you without dark vision, you are still suffering from the effects of dim light.
Is the citadel big enough that we can see it directly ahead of the gate?
You can see a towering citadel. It is somewhat reminiscent of the citadel in Khor, although a little bit smaller and made out of a dark black stone. You can also see there's a couple other large buildings of note. One off to your right is a larger building with columns that's kind of set on a slightly raised platform. It's to be kind of has the sense of like an administrative or building of some kind of that sense. Not a temple, you don't think. You look off to the left and you can see a large complex with many smokestacks rising off of them. One of them currently active. Those are the only two buildings of some significance that you can currently make out in purple haze.
Well, I think it might be for the best if we find somewhere to use as a base of operations and maybe go to one of the larger buildings and see if we can get up onto the roof and see the citadel better.
Agreed. And as we do that search, Sulveran will be considering the distance that he can cast that spell, and I imagine he probably had to do at least some sort of like distance, like tracking and figuring out like how far something was away when he was seeking shelter itself, etc. So
yeah, the citadel is probably still a little bit too far. And if they're in the ground, you might have to be even closer for locate.
So I think we'll start leading everyone away from the straight main down to the citadel, because that seems the most dangerous place to be, and towards the administration-looking building to kind of try and find a house to stop at on the way that looks like a relatively smaller house, but that's still in good repair. And down an alley instead of down a main thoroughfare,
Make an investigation check as you're doing so. Old Bart will help. Yeah, Old Bart will help.
24.
Okay. There is a suitably small building as you are, small but well maintained building. As far as you can tell, it seems empty inside. It is basically across the street from this other building, which has a couple. You'll note it has a couple statues outside amidst the pillars. Large double door. The statues are depicting One of them is depicting what seems to be a lion, although it has been faced. The other statue seems to be a large goat. That's also... So you're kind of across from the plaza building. The door, you try it, is locked to the smaller house.
Will looks to Alveron and kind of mimes lockpicking.
Rolls up sleeves, and I have to ask this every single time. I'm sorry, just because with tools, I forget how to do the roll for this. Is it D20
It's
plus?
proficiency, so it's going to be 4 plus 5 from your gloves plus your dex. So 9 plus your dex.
You can roll it
On
from your inventory as well. You should be able to.
I thought
Yeah,
we
if you
tried
have
that and
these
it didn't
tools.
work at some point.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. What's your dex modifier?
You have to set it up.
Plus
Fine.
5, so
And so just roll plus 4.
14.
Yeah.
It's not that complex of a lock, especially with the gloves attached. You kind of quickly pull up the lockpicks. Open this door to what seems to be a pretty nice 3-story house. It is not. It's kind of like a row house style, so each story is not very large. It's like, a room and bathroom kind of thing. But that's kind of the space you're in. It does seem like it's been somewhat recently habitated. You're not sure by what, but there is evidence of hastily taken clothes out of a drawer, bits and pieces of leftover guarded food. There is a fireplace here, as well as cupboards
It looks
full of
recently
stuff.
habitated, but also recently willfully abandoned. Like things are taken as if to not be returned to.
Yeah.
I think Will kind of starts to roam around and says to the others, "We might need to be more aware of people actually living in this city than perhaps we thought."
Could Uba perhaps? I'm not sure what this would count as, whether it would be like nature investigation, but since Ubo is a hunter and would know about partially eaten food and things like that they could use to track, could they potentially try and figure out how long it's been since the people have been there by looking at the food? Might be a long shot.
Yeah, you can make me a survival check. I think that's definitely reasonable.
Meh.
You would say it's been a few days at the very least, based off of the current state of food.
Okay. I think that Uber will be a little bit surprised by this and say, looks like it's only been, maybe a few days, maybe a little bit longer since someone was here, but I don't know. This food doesn't look like it would be eaten by demons.
Hmm.
Are the dark dwarves down here as well? The Druger, I think they're called. That's a hard word to say in this voice.
Uba
A hard
says,
word to say in general.
Uba kind of pipes up and says, I don't know much about these, demon-controlled dwarves or shadow dragons or things like that. Do they even need to eat? I don't know.
Even things that don't need to eat might enjoy eating. I don't know if Druger need to eat or not.
But nods and says, I enjoy eating, so I understand.
Can I make a history roll to know more about dark dwarves, as
Sure.
we're going to call them? 17.
As far as you're aware, nobody has really encountered them or seen them much, maybe one or two occurrences, since the armies marched out for the Blight. It was kind of assumed that the vast majority of them died in that conflict. But it was never. That hasn't really ever been 100% confirmed. People don't just go into Harkantor without a reason. If people have encountered these creatures, they didn't necessarily write about it or mark it down in the histories. From what you know about them, they were very similar to dwarves. They have some innate magic, and their condition or their state is an affliction. Like they were made to be servants, forcibly done so, as far as most people understand.
I think Will says to Uber, well, I mean, don't go telling many dwarves that I said this, but they are very similar people, except the Droger were made to serve. But it was thought that during the Blight they mainly ceased to exist. But maybe here in Harkantor they still live.
Uba is like trying to piece this all together and says, it seems odd that servants would be this far out eating on their own. Is it possible that other adventurers might come down here? It seems foolish.
I would think of it this way, Uba. You and I are servants of the Sultana, and we are a long way from home. So serving is not the same as being enslaved.
Uba's like sitting there, like you can see the gears turning, the idea that Uba is a servant, and that's never crossed their mind, so they just kind of stop and are like staring off into the distance.
Like, wait, this is too much to.
But I'm a lord. How am I subservient if I'm a lord?
Surely everyone answers to Uba. I'd also like to make an Arcana check. To piece it. I don't know if I even need to make this Arcana check, but to kind of solidify in Will's mind that this oppressive darkness will eventually become an insurmountable problem for enough of us that, like, it puts us on a really more significant clock for getting through this. It might not be an Arcana check.
Right. Make an Arcana check. I might give you more specific information alongside of that. Definitely. Okay, 24. Definitely, it incentivizes you to be quick about your actions and not take as much time. Because, for one, some of you already aren't able to rest properly, and if it's going to get worse, then at some point you're going to get fewer and fewer. The party as a whole is going to get fewer and fewer benefits from long resting, while potentially increasing the danger as more and more people become aware of your presence.
I think as we're kind of setting up the space to maybe not long rest right now, but like have it ready to go. Will starts talking to everyone and says, so I think this magical darkness thing, it, from the way it's been affecting us, it's going to be a problem far quicker than perhaps we would like. If already the struggle to get rest is real for many of us, that will only get worse, and we might need to more decisively take to the streets to find a way into the Citadel to find Toralus.
I will also note that while none of you are currently under the effects of exhaustion, if you're not able to get proper sleep for long enough, you will also start to take exhaustion, in addition to not being able to recover spell slots. And it dies.
We should get moving then.
I think no matter what, we have still roughly half the day, right?
I would say a little bit over that. You probably got to the bridge only a couple hours after you had left.
We could examine the large building, try and get a better lay of the land with regards to the citadel. If it's an administration building, it might have more accurate maps than the ones that Bartram has seen. And then maybe tomorrow we plan to act and try and save Tarlus.
Assuming that Kala and Old Bart caught up to you into the building, Old Bart will say, we can make a camp while you investigate. I'll see if I can do something interesting.
Something alchemical?
I'm not sure it will work, but yes.
Will nods.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Will is on board with let's go to the administration building and let's get in and out of this place as quickly as possible, because as soon as even one of us is afflicted by that stuff, it lowers that person's actual ability to be helpful by a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, if that hits one of the full casters and they start not being able to fill spell slots, we're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have about 19 scrolls. So
That will certainly.
3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Your 3 secondary party companions will begin to. You see Kala beginning to kind of lay some tripwires, just some alarms with both magic and physically, just to alert you guys if it comes in. Old Bart begins to kind of scrawl into some of the woodwork, like protectives, arcane markings, and Kella kind of splits between helping both of them while also trying to pick up a little bit of what they're doing. Meanwhile, the 5 of you exit from this home and begin to make your way over towards this building. You come up to it. There's this big double doors made out of wood. You kind of glance at it for a little bit. Anybody who wants to can make me a religion check. So you're up close and looking at it.
I think that I would have Will be talking to Sulveran at this moment, and we're talking about it together, and I want to help Sulveran to get advantage. But
Okay,
you rolled already, so maybe I should just roll.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll just roll. That's fine.
I was just so excited that my character sheet rolled instantly.
Yeah.
Maybe Sulveran's talking to Will.
I was so excited for our religion roll that was going to be important.
And you got distracted by the architecture.
Yeah.
As you are...
Praesidian columns.
There are some very nice columns out here. No. As you are approaching and you're kind of looking at the iconography on the building, you, Sulveran, actually think that this, at one point, was a temple to Alamein, which means it's probably a library. That iconography has been buried under lots of demonic symbols and symbology that have been placed on top of it. So only your keen eyes can kind of see the less obvious markings that were ignored by people who kind of were just going after trying to deface the big markings and redesign the temple in their own image quickly. One of you pushes open the door. Are you guys stealthing at this moment?
I
I
think
we're always being stealthy.
I think Pass
Since you're-
Without a Trace should still be active if it's not been an hour.
I think we're probably edging towards the end of the hour, but I'll say it right now. Everybody make stealth checks as you're entering into the building as a new space.
I can vanish.
What?
So glad you all have good bonuses.
Oh yeah.
Certainly helps.
42 on your stealth check. 42.
Where you start
You
to
are
get like the
invisible
mimetic.
to everything.
I was gonna say, watch Andrew just be like, "Oh, actually, they have true sight," and fuck you, McLean.
I love the idea of making us roll a group stealth check and just be like, but they can see you because of
I have
their
Alver
abilities.
specifically detected to pick up Alveron.
I
and his
always roll for them too. Like, there's always a chance that
Yeah.
they just roll better than you guys do. You enter into this building, pushing open the doors. You find rows of bookshelves with many different books in them. But there's also large webs up in some of the corners here and there, like reaching across different shelves, like across whole corners of the buildings as you kind of are entering in. It's not immediately obvious. You're kind of entering into the space by the time you notice all of these different webbings. Alveron. Constantly
Do
surprised
tell.
that Sulveran does not have possession.
Yeah.
Just Alveron, yeah. Just Alveron, you can hear in corners hidden in the shadows and recesses chittering and sounds. Not moving towards you, just kind of existing in the area.
Does it sound chitinous?
It does sound chitinous.
I don't
It
like
made
that adjective.
You think from large creatures.
I get people's attention, and very, very much like Sulveran. I hear your scorpion. Wait, was it you who had the scorpion, or was it Uba?
Zuba.
Sulveran was pointing at Uba.
Sulveran would have crushed the scorpion.
Sulveran was gonna warn 2 scorpions with roller skates.
Sorry, my cat just freaked out at that noise that I just made. But, sorry, to Uba. No, actually, to Sulveran. Your scorpion points at Uba. I mean, your scorpion. Just points in the direction of the chitinous chittering noises. And Andrew, did I get a vibe of how many there were?
At least a couple. I will also say so, and you guys can let me know like where you were gravitating towards as you walk in. So you walk in. There's actually,
If there's spider webs, Will is at the door still and will like murmur to Alveron, did you
again, sorry,
scorpions? Sorry.
you didn't notice this until you had walked in like a decent amount.
Okay. Then Will says to Alveron, did you say scorpions, not spiders?
Sounds like scorpions. I don't know. I can't tell the difference for just auditorily.
I think with your passive perception, you see that Will has a scroll in her hand. And I don't think there's any way you could know what scroll it is, but it is Incendiary Cloud, and Willow wants to just burn this place to the ground.
Perfect.
Will is not a fan of spiders. Scorpions are fine. So if you like, great.
Okay.
If not, I'm going to cast a level 8 incendiary.
Some of you can see more
Jesus.
because vision. I'll let.
Chill the hell out, girl.
Yeah, so there's kind of a second story, like balcony area on either side, and a staircase leading up. A large set of stacks going forward. There are other statues. There does seem to be a cabinet with some shiny-looking things, Uba, at the other end.
Tell me more.
Of this area as well. There's kind of a front desk as well, where you're seeing you're walking in.
Can I make a nature roll to know if scorpions make webs?
I think I will tell you that scorpions generally don't make webs.
I'll look at Alveron
We're-
suspiciously.
It's actually
I want to see if Alveron has a spider on him that might make him the spider Alveron.
I am being mind controlled by the spider queen.
Puppeted by
Yes.
spider webs.
there are spiders. The thing is, there actually are scorpions, but it's also like silkworms, bagworms.
Ugh.
That's
I'm
fine.
also. I'm gonna say I just rolled for Uba a wisdom saving throw, so I think that Uba has become so enamored by the shiny things that they don't care about the chittering sounds nearly as much as they should.
Uba is probably like here
Uba
after the
is
shinies.
Uba is a real fun character this session. I really like what Uba's all about.
Again, you are all stealthing. Whatever's in here does not seem to have noticed you at this point in time. But Uba is currently making their way every second, walking closer to this
I
cabinet.
think, Alveron, I think it's probably a really good idea that one of us stays outside in case demons come, and we'll just like ducks towards the door. And we'll step outside unless stop.
And as I go deeper into the room, I'll just, making eye contact with Will. You don't like scorpions? And just keep going. I'm committed.
Idiot. Will is murmuring about the idiocy of thinking these are scorpions.
Assuming Uba is like wandering off to get these gemstones, Sulveran with his fantastic night vision is just gonna like start steering them back to like stick with us. We'll get the gems in a moment.
Uba, there's a cabinet. There's lots of gems in it. Do you want to open it?
I'm doing another saving throw.
Son of a bitch.
Uba like reaches out to grab the handle and then like looks at Sulveran and
That's
then moves their hand away.
And then
I was
opens
gonna
it.
say the line was a 10. So
Okay.
Sulveran, when Uba like not even having to be stopped, Sulveran has that moment of Will is always talking about like letting people make their own mistakes, but this was felt like a mistake that he couldn't let Uba make.
You guys are thinking about this. One of these creatures starts to step on top of bookshelves. Not
Oh, gross.
not looking at you or looking for you, but kind of just making their way across.
Oh, good
It
call, Will.
is large. It has 2 pairs of wings on its back, many legs,
May I
mandibles
identify what this is?
and it's kind of long. And it is able to create webs. You can make me a religion check. Anybody who's looking at it now can. So, Baron, this thing's passing real close to you. If not for your guys' current stealth, it probably would see.
May I do a
no,
nature
no.
check instead to like not necessarily learn what this is, but more about like its features?
Yeah, about its physiology. That's fine.
Yeah.
Would I have gotten any bonus from just having recently consulted the big bug of demons?
Not too bad.
What's your blind sight?
I'm going to say no, just because other people already succeeded anyways.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just forward it to them. Sulveran, this is a kind of it's actually from what you understand, it's a kind of demon that has been fused spider and drake
Oh.
moved in together into one demonic creature. They've had many different names, but some people just call them spider drakes, even though they are technically demonic in origin. People call them different things. But that's what you know about them. Uba, you can see there. You can, as you're looking at them, you know that this creature has some drake physiology mixed in there, but it's clearly been altered, mutated, mixed with this insectoid, spiderous essence that has warped its form significantly.
Uba covers Kojin's eyes.
Certainly, this creature is poisonous, and you suspect, 16, that it has a poison breath that it might be able to. It is currently blocking your exit as it moves downward. I'll let you guys think about what you are going to do. We're going to pick up here next week.
Will just like lights a cigarette and waits
Will's
for
like,
the sounds.
I'm
screaming
out.
to die
I'm going to
down.
find a new party.
You know what's worse than a spider? A spider that's been fused with a demon and a dragon. Like, that's a thing that I will stare down a kraken. I will fly into the face of a demon, but a spider? No, thank you.
You know,
Thank
when
you,
the
business.
Australian is scared by the wildlife, that's when you know it's fucked.
Jack's not scared by any animal, but
I
Will.
just- Perennially in D&D, I have the issue where I always think that creatures that fly will be particularly vulnerable to lightning damage, and I forget that's just never a correlation in D&D.
Yep.
Pokemon rules apply.
I think it should be, but I think
Okay. So we'll document
just-
that for the next time that Medea is flying.
there are just like
Dude.
no vulnerabilities in D&D for monsters. It's so weird to me.
Yeah, some of the source books that I use are somewhat better about it, but it's hard to change that because of the HB values without keeping the balance. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the session. I am glad that we got to play with everybody right from the start. It was fun.
Yeah.
I know we were kind of loopy today, but I still had fun.
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
I hope everybody else did as well. We are now affiliates on Twitch, so you can subscribe to us. If you have Twitch Prime, you can do that for free a month. Otherwise, follow us on YouTube, Twitch, and we're going to keep playing as long as we keep enjoying it. So, unless anybody else has anything to say, we'll sign us off and say goodbye.